The sun is heavy. It hangs low in the western sky, a burning circle of pale gold that refuses to set just yet. It is the year 50, perhaps 60. It does not matter. The year does not change the weight of the stone or the heat of the air. We are in a town somewhere within the vast, breathing body of the empire. It is not Rome itself. It is quieter here. There are no great processions today. There are no emperors waving to crowds. There is only the work and the slow, steady rhythm of a day that has been long and is not yet over. If you are listening, you do not need to focus on the details. The details are there like the stones on the road, simply existing. You can let your mind drift. You can let your eyes close. There is nothing here that requires your attention. There is no test. There is no danger. Just the slow passage of time in a world that existed long ago. Imagine the street. It is paved with large, flat stones. They are gray, worn smooth by the sandals of thousands of people, by the wooden wheels of carts, by the rain and the wind. The stones are warm to the touch. They have absorbed the heat of the sun all day, soaking it in, holding it deep within their core. If you were to place your hand on the ground now, you would feel that solid, radiating warmth. It is a steady heat, unchanging. A man is walking slowly down the side of the street. He is wearing a tunic of rough, undyed wool. It is the color of oatmeal, slightly stained with the dust of the road. He is not a soldier. He is not a senator. He is a carrier of water. On his shoulder, a wooden pole rests, polished by sweat and years of use. At each end of the pole hangs a clay jar. The jars are heavy. They are filled with water drawn from the public fountain 3 streets away. Watch him walk, step, step, step. He does not rush. To rush would be to spill the water. To rush would be to waste energy that he does not have. His sandals are made of leather, thin straps wrapping around his ankles. The leather creaks softly with every movement. Creak, step, creak, step. It is a rhythmic sound, a hypnotic sound. He stops for a moment to adjust the weight on his shoulder. He takes a breath. He looks at the wall of a building nearby. The wall is made of brick and plaster. The plaster is peeling in one corner, revealing the red clay beneath. He stares at it, not really seeing it, just resting his eyes. He is tired. His muscles are tight, but he does not complain. This is simply what it is. The work continues. In the distance, the sound of a hammer strikes metal. It is far away. It is not a loud clang, but a dull, muted thud. Thud, silence. Thud, silence. A smith is finishing a hinge, perhaps, or a nail. It does not matter what he is making. The only thing that matters is the rhythm. It is slow, deliberate. There is no urgency in the sound. It is just the heartbeat of the town, slowing down as the evening approaches. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tension leave your jaw. The Roman day was long, and for the ordinary worker, rest was a luxury that came only with total darkness. But here in this story, there is no demand on you. You are simply floating above the street, watching the dust settle. The light is changing now, very slowly. The sharp yellow of the afternoon is deepening into a rich, hazy amber. The shadows are stretching. The shadow of the water carrier has become long and thin, reaching across the street to touch the opposite wall. The shadow of a cart, parked and empty, looks like a dark pool of water on the stones. A dog lies in the shade of an awning. It is a brown dog of no particular breed. It is asleep. Its side rises and falls. In, out, in, out. Even the flies seem to move slowly in the warm air, buzzing lazily in circles. The dog twitches an ear but does not wake. It knows there is nothing to wake for. The street is safe. The street is boring. The street is calm. Further down the road, a shopkeeper is beginning the long process of closing his stall. He sells grain. Sacks of wheat and barley are stacked against the wall. The sacks are made of burlap, rough and scratchy. He picks up a small broom made of twigs. He begins to sweep the front step of his shop. Swish, swish, swish. He moves the dust from the stone step to the street. He does not look up. He watches the dust. He watches the twigs of the broom scratch against the stone. It is a repetitive motion. He has done this every day for 20 years. He will do it again tomorrow. There is a comfort in that repetition, knowing exactly what comes next, knowing that the task is simple. He stops sweeping. He leans the broom against the wall. He picks up a wooden board. It is one of the shutters for his shop window. It is heavy oak. He lifts it with both hands, groaning slightly with the effort, a sound barely audible. He fits the board into the groove of the window frame. It slides into place with a wooden clunk. He picks up the second board, he lifts it. He slides it, clunk. He picks up the third board, he lifts it. He slides it, clunk. Now the shop is dark inside. The smell of the grain, dry, dusty, earthy, is sealed within. The shopkeeper wipes his hands on his tunic. He stands there for a moment, looking at the closed shutters. He is not thinking of the future. He is not thinking of the past. He is just breathing. The air smells of dry earth and distant smoke from a cooking fire. The sky is turning a pale violet above the rooftops. The stark blue is fading. The transition is so gradual you almost cannot see it happening. If you blink, the sky looks the same. But if you watch for a long time, the blue softens, grays, and turns to purple. A cart rolls by. This one is pulled by a mule. The mule's head is down. It walks with a heavy, plodding gait. The cart is filled with empty terracotta pots. They rattle against each other as the wheels roll over the uneven stones. Click-clack, click-clack, a gentle, hollow sound. The driver of the cart holds the reins loosely. He is looking at the horizon. He is not steering. The mule knows the way. The mule knows the way to the stable, to the hay, to the water. There is no need to hurry. The destination is fixed. The arrival is inevitable, just as sleep is inevitable. You might wonder about the lives of these people. Did they worry? Yes. Did they love? Yes. But right now, in this moment, they are simply existing in the quiet hum of the evening. Their work is physical, it is tangible. When the water carrier puts down his jar, the weight is gone. When the shopkeeper places the shutter, the shop is closed. There is a simplicity to it, a finality. Unlike the modern mind, which spins and turns with endless thoughts, the scene here is grounded in the physical world. Stone, wood, leather, clay, grain, these are real things, solid things. You can rest your mind on them. Imagine the texture of the flour on the shopkeeper's hands, soft, powdery, dry. Imagine the coolness of the water in the clay jar. The light continues to fade. The amber light is gone now, replaced by the gray softness of twilight. The edges of the buildings are becoming less distinct. The sharp lines of the roof tiles are blurring. The world is losing its definition, preparing to sleep. A lamp lighter appears at the end of the street. He carries a long pole with a small flame at the tip. He is a public slave, tasked with a job that never changes. He walks to a stone pillar where an oil lamp sits in a niche. He reaches up with his pole. He touches the flame to the wick. A small yellow light flickers into existence. It is not bright. It does not push back the darkness. It merely sits within it, a small island of gold in a sea of gray. The lamplighter moves to the next pillar. He walks slowly. There are many lamps. There is much time. Watch the flame. It dances slightly in the gentle breeze. It is a small, quiet thing. It demands nothing. It simply burns. The oil fuels it. The wick holds it. The glass shields it. Everything has its place. Everything has its function. You have a place here too. Your place is to rest, to observe without judging, to listen without analyzing. The noise of the town is changing. The daytime sounds, the shouting of vendors, the heavy carts, the construction have faded away. Now the sounds are smaller, intimate. A door closing, a child calling out from a window, and a mother shushing them. The the sound of a ceramic bowl being placed on a wooden table. We move our attention now away from the street and float gently towards a courtyard of a modest house. The walls are painted a pale yellow, now gray in the twilight. In the center of the courtyard is a small garden. Herbs are growing there: rosemary, mint, thyme. The scent is faint, released by the cooling air. A small fountain trickles in the corner. The water flows from a small bronze spout into a basin. Drip, drip, flow. The sound of water is constant. It is the sound of time passing. It creates a blanket of white noise that covers the silence. A woman sits on a stone bench in the courtyard. She is mending a tunic. The light is dim, so she works by feel as much as by sight. She pulls the needle through the fabric. Pull. She pushes it back through. Push. It is a mindless task for her. Her hands know the rhythm. She does not need to think. She stops and looks up at the square of sky visible above the courtyard. The first star has appeared. It is faint, barely there. She watches it. She takes a deep breath, inhaling the scent of the mint and the cooling stone. Her day has been full of cooking, cleaning, and managing the household. But now the pace slows. There is no artificial light here yet, only the gray sky and the promise of night. The work is not quite done. There is always work, but the intensity has broken. The urgency has evaporated with the heat of the day. Feel the atmosphere of the Roman evening. It is not like our evenings. There is no hum of electricity, no distant roar of traffic, no glowing screens. There is only the natural light fading into natural darkness. The transition is organic. It tells the body that it is time to slow down. The water carrier we saw earlier has reached his destination. He is at the back entrance of a large villa. He lowers the pole from his shoulder. He groans softly, a sound of relief. He sets the clay jars down on the ground. The water sloshes inside, settling into stillness. He rubs his shoulder where the wood has pressed all day. He leans against the wall. For a moment, he does nothing. He just stands. He feels the cool wall against his back. He feels the ground beneath his feet. He is done with this carry. There will be another tomorrow, but for now, the jars are down. This is the nature of Roman work. It is heavy, but it has an end. It follows the sun. When the sun leaves, the heavy work must stop. The eyes cannot see. The hands cannot be sure. The night brings a forced rest, a mandatory pause. Accept this pause. Let it wrap around you like a heavy wool blanket. Now let us drift to the edge of the town. Here, the city walls stand tall and thick. They are made of massive stones fitted together without mortar. They have stood for 100 years. They will stand for 1,000 more. They are silent guardians. On top of the wall, a guard is standing. He is a soldier, but there is no war here. There is no enemy. He is just a man in armor standing in the twilight. He leans on his spear. His helmet is tucked under his arm. The cool air feels good on his shaved head. He looks out over the fields that surround the town. The fields are dark patches of green and brown. Olive trees twist their branches towards the sky, looking like frozen dancers in the dim light. The guard shifts his weight from one leg to the other. The metal of his armor clinks softly. Clink. He is bored. He has been standing here for 4 hours. He has 2 more hours to go before his shift ends. He counts the olive trees. 1, 2, 3, 4. He loses count. He starts again. 1, 2, 3. He is not thinking of glory. He is thinking of his boots. The leather is rubbing against his heel. It is a small annoyance, but it is the only thing happening in his world right now. He wiggles his toes. The wind picks up slightly. It rustles the dry grass at the base of the wall. SHHH, SHHH. It is the sound of the earth breathing. The guard closes his eyes for a second just to feel the wind on his face. It smells of dry grass and distant rain. Nothing is happening. Nothing is going to happen. The empire is at peace in this valley. The Pax Romana is not just a political term. It is this silence. It is this boredom. It is the safety of a man standing on a wall counting trees because there is nothing else to do. You are safe here too. You are like the guard, but without the armor, without the sore feet. You are simply observing the stillness. You can let go of your vigilance. The guard is watching for you. The wall is holding up the sky for you. The darkness is deeper now. The violet sky has turned to a deep indigo. The stars are multiplying. 1, then 10, then 100. They are sharp and clear, unpolluted by city lights. They look down on the Roman town with a cold, indifferent beauty. Back in the bakery, the work is actually just beginning, but it is a quiet work. The baker is preparing the dough for the morning bread. He is a large man, his arms dusted with white flour. He stands over a massive wooden trough. He pushes his hands into the dough. It is soft, elastic, warm. He pushes, he folds, he turns, he pushes, he folds, he turns. It is a slow, rhythmic dance. The dough resists, then yields. The baker's breathing is steady. H-H-H, H-H-H. The room is warm from the residual heat of the oven. The air smells sweet of yeast and wheat. It is a comforting, heavy smell, a smell that makes eyelids heavy. The baker does not speak. There is no one to speak to. There is only the dough. The dough requires patience. It cannot be rushed. It must rise in its own time. The baker knows this. He works with the time, not against it. Imagine your thoughts are like that dough, being kneaded, being smoothed out, folded over and over until they are uniform and soft. All the sharp edges of the day are being pressed away. The town is almost fully asleep now. The shutters are closed on almost every house. The streets are empty, save for the occasional stray dog or the slow patrol of the night watch. The silence is not empty. It is full of presence. The presence of stone, of sleeping people, of the history that is happening simply by everyone existing. This is the life without rest, in a way. The work shifts, but the existence continues. But it is a calm existence, a predictable one. We will stay here for a while, in this darkness, in this quiet, watching the stars wheel slowly overhead. There is no rush to move to the next moment. The next moment will come when it comes. For now, this moment is enough. The cool stone, the distant dog, the smell of bread, the weight of the armor, the sound of the fountain. Drip, drip, flow. The darkness has settled completely now. It is a thick, velvety substance that fills the spaces between the buildings. The air has cooled significantly. The stone walls, which held the heat of the sun for so long, are finally beginning to release it. If you were to lean against a pillar now, it would feel tepid, neutral, neither hot nor cold. Just solid matter in the dark. The town is not asleep, not entirely. It has simply changed its rhythm. The frantic energy of the sunlight is gone. In its place is a slow, subterranean pulse. This is the time of the night workers, the shadows, the necessary tasks that keep the empire running while the citizens sleep. We drift through the narrow streets. They are like canyons now, walled in by the silent facades of the insulae, the apartment blocks. Most windows are dark squares, silent eyes. But here and there, a faint orange glow spills out, trembling against the brickwork. A candle, an oil lamp. Someone is still awake. Listen, the silence is not total. From the end of the long avenue comes a low, rolling rumble. It is a sound that vibrates in the chest more than in the ears. Rumble, creak, rumble. It is the wagons. By the law of the Lex Iulia Municipales, heavy transport wagons are forbidden from the streets during the daylight hours to prevent congestion. So, the night belongs to the freight. They are the blood cells of the empire, moving only when the body is resting. Here comes one now. A massive four-wheeled cart, piled high with timber from the mountains. The wood smells of pine resin and damp bark. The scent cuts through the dusty air of the city. The oxen pulling the cart are massive beasts, their heads low, their breath puffing out in white clouds that vanish instantly in the dark. Watch the wheels. They are rimmed with iron. They grind against the cobblestones. Grind, crush, roll. The sound echoes off the walls of the sleeping houses, but the people inside are used to it. It is the white noise of their lives. They do not wake up. They simply turn over in their beds, lulled by the knowledge that the supplies are arriving. The driver does not shout. He does not crack a whip. He walks beside the oxen, his hand resting gently on the flank of the nearest beast. He is tired. He has been walking for hours. His boots are covered in mud. He hums a low, tuneless melody, just a vibration in his throat to keep himself company. The cart passes, slowly, painfully slowly. It takes a full minute for it to cross your field of vision. And then it is gone, fading into the gloom down the street, the rumble growing fainter and fainter until it is just a memory of a sound. Silence returns, but it is a waiting silence. We move now to a building that is warm, hot even. We are going beneath the floor. This is the hypocaust, the heating system of the public baths. The bathhouse is closed to the public now. The pools are still. The echoing laughter and conversation of the day are gone, but the heat must be maintained. The fire cannot die. In the service tunnels beneath the baths, the ceiling is low. The air is dry and thick with the smell of wood smoke and ash. A slave is working here. He is the stoker, the fornicator. His world is a world of shadows and orange light. He stands before the mouth of the furnace. It is a brick archway, glowing like the eye of a dragon. Inside, the fire burns steadily. Not a raging inferno, but a controlled, deep heat. The heat that warms the water in the caldarium above. The stoker picks up a shovel. It is made of iron, heavy and rough. He pushes it into a pile of charcoal, scrape. The sound of metal on stone is sharp. He lifts the shovel. The muscles in his back shift under his skin. He is accustomed to this weight. There is no strain, only leverage. He throws the charcoal into the furnace. Whoosh! A flurry of sparks dances up, swirling in the draft, then disappearing into the darkness of the flue. He does this again, scrape, lift, throw, and again scrape, lift, throw. He moves with the efficiency of a machine. He does not need to look. He knows exactly where the pile is. He knows exactly where the fire is. He pauses to wipe sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. His face is smudged with soot. He sits on a low wooden stool. He stares into the fire. The flames lick the wood. Orange, yellow, blue at the base. They twist and curl. It is hypnotic. If you stare at the fire with him, your eyes will grow heavy. The heat wraps around you like a heavy blanket. It presses down on your eyelids. There is nowhere to go. There is nothing to do but watch the fire burn. Above him, the water in the great tank sits motionless, steaming slightly in the dark rooms. The steam rises, hits the domed ceiling, condenses, and drips back down. Drip. A tiny ripple spreads across the surface of the water, bouncing off the marble sides and fading into nothing. The stoker takes a drink from a clay jug. Water, tepid water, he sighs. It is a long night. He has 4 more hours before the morning shift arrives. He is the keeper of the warmth. It is a lonely job, but a peaceful one. No one bothers him here. The fire is his only companion. We leave the heat of the furnace and float back up into the cool night air. We drift over the rooftops, over the tiles that are wet with dew. The moon has risen now. It is a half moon, sharp and white. It paints the city in silver and black. We descend into the courtyard of a wealthy domus. The family has long since gone to bed. The atrium is empty. The impluvium, the shallow pool in the center that catches rain, reflects the moonlight like a dark mirror. But in the back of the house, in the kitchen, there is still movement. A single oil lamp burns on a wooden table. The light is weak, casting long, wavering shadows against the walls hung with dried herbs and copper pans. 2 kitchen slaves are finishing the final cleaning. The feast is over. The guests are gone. Now is the time of the scrub. A young woman stands over a stone sink. The water is cold. She holds a bronze platter. It is greasy from the roast pork served earlier. She takes a handful of fine sand, the soap of the ancients, and a rough cloth. She begins to scour the metal. Scrub, 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 swish, swish. The sound is repetitive, a dry, scratching sound, sand against metal. She works in a circle, round and round. She is not rushing, she cannot rush. The metal must be clean. She rinses the platter with a splash of water. She holds it up to the dim light to check for spots. She sees one. She lowers the platter. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Next to her, an older man is drying the ceramic bowls. He uses a linen cloth. He picks up a bowl. He wipes the inside. He wipes the outside. He stacks it on the shelf. Pick up. Wipe, wipe, stack, pick up, wipe, wipe, stack. They do not speak. They have said everything they need to say during the chaos of the dinner service. Now, in the quiet aftermath, they share a companionable silence. The only sounds are the scrubbing of the sand and the soft clink of the pottery being stacked. The air in the kitchen smells of stale wine, garlic, and the sharp, clean scent of the wood ash used for cleaning. It is a domestic smell, a grounded smell. The woman stops for a moment to stretch her back. She rolls her shoulders. She looks at the flame of the lamp. The oil is getting low. The flame is getting smaller. Soon, she thinks, soon we sleep. There is a comfort in the end of a task. The stack of dirty dishes gets smaller. The stack of clean dishes gets higher. It is visible progress in a world that often feels unchanging. You can watch this progress. You can count the bowls with the old man. 1 more clean, 2 more clean. Outside the kitchen window in the garden, a cricket begins to chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. It is a lonely, rhythmic sound. It marks the passage of seconds. Let your mind drift away from the kitchen now. Float out through the window, past the sleeping garden and back onto the street. We find ourselves near the city gates. Here, the architecture is heavy, militaristic. The stone arches loom high above. A group of men is walking down the street. They are the vigils, the night watchmen. They are the firefighters and the police of the city. They walk in a line, 2 by 2. They wear simple tunics and sturdy leather sandals. They carry buckets made of rope and tar and axes. They are not marching to war. They are walking a beat. It is a slow, patrolling walk. Listen to their feet. Crunch, crunch, crunch. There are 6 of them, 12 feet hitting the ground in a loose unison. They are not talking, they are looking. They scan the dark windows. They sniff the air for the smell of smoke. Fire is the great enemy of Rome. They are the guardians against the flame. But tonight there is no fire. There is only the damp night air. One of the watchmen shifts the weight of his axe. It is heavy on his shoulder. He adjusts the strap. He yawns. The yawn spreads to the man next to him. It is a contagion of tiredness. They pass a street shrine, the lararium of the neighborhood crossroads. A small painting of a snake and 2 dancing figures is fading on the plaster wall. A tiny offering of flowers lies wilted at the base. The watchmen do not stop. They have seen it 1,000 times. They keep walking. Their path takes them past a row of workshops. The shops are shuttered tight, but from one a faint sound emerges. A tapping, tap, tap, tap. It is a stonemason. He is behind on an order. He is working late by the light of a single tallow candle. We cannot see him, but we can hear him through the wooden door. He is chiseling a name onto a grave marker, a final memorial for someone who has passed. The tapping is gentle. He is doing the fine detail work, the serif of an E, the curve of an S. He is tired, his eyes are straining, but his hand is steady. He is carving memory into stone. He is making something that will last longer than the empire itself. But for now, it is just a sound in the night. Tap, tap, pause, tap. The vigils walk past the sound. They fade into the darkness further down the street. The street is empty again. The wind shifts. It blows gently through the colonnade of a temple nearby. The columns are tall and white, glowing ghostly in the moonlight. The wind whistles softly as it passes between them, a low, mournful, soothing note. A cat appears from the shadows. It is sleek and black. It moves with liquid grace, silent as smoke. It jumps onto a rain barrel. It sits. It wraps its tail around its paws. It watches the street with yellow eyes. It blinks, slowly. One blink, two blinks. The cat is the king of this empty street. It has nowhere to be. It is simply existing, enjoying the cool air and the absence of feet. We are deep in the night now. The dead of night, as they say. The time when the barrier between the day that was and the day that will be is thickest. Let us go to the river that runs through the edge of the town. The Tiber, or perhaps a tributary, it doesn't matter. The water is dark, black as ink. It moves steadily, a powerful, silent force. The surface is smooth, unbroken, sliding past the stone embankments. On the river, a barge is moored. It is tied to a heavy iron ring in the wall. The rope is thick and wet. The barge is laden with sacks of grain from Egypt or Sicily. The crew is asleep on the deck, wrapped in rough blankets. The boat rocks gently, very gently, rock, settle, rock, settle. The water laps against the wood of the hull, slap, slap, slap. It is the most soothing sound in the world. The sound of water holding up a burden. The river never stops. It carries the weight so the men don't have to. A mist is beginning to rise from the water. It curls around the ropes, softens the outline of the barge. It is a cold, damp mist. It muffles the world even further. If a bird were to call out now, the sound would be swallowed instantly by the fog. There is a man sitting on the edge of the embankment, his legs dangling over the side. He is a fisherman, waiting for the dawn. But the dawn is hours away. He has a line in the water, but he is not holding it tight. He is leaning back on his hands, looking up at the sky. He is perfectly still. He is a statue of patience. He is not waiting with anxiety. He is waiting with certainty. The sun will rise, the fish will bite, or they won't. It is out of his hands. He takes a slow breath. The air is wet and tastes of river mud and algae. It is a living smell. Everything in this world is slow. The speed of life is the speed of a footstep, the speed of a drifting boat, the speed of a dying fire. There are no notifications to check. There are no alarms ringing. There is only the grand, slow wheel of the stars turning overhead. Imagine you are lying on the deck of that barge. The wood is hard beneath you, but the gentle rocking lulls you. The river is carrying you. You are safe. You are unnoticed. You are part of the history that no one writes down. The history of sleeping. The history of resting. The darkness is not empty. It is a cocoon. It protects the town. It allows the stone to cool. It allows the muscles to repair. It allows the mind to empty. Far away, outside the city walls, a wolf howls. It is a distant, lonely sound. It does not speak of danger, but of the vastness of the world. The wild world that surrounds this little island of civilization. The howl fades. The silence rushes back in to fill the space, deeper than before. In the house of a weaver, a loom stands silent in the corner. A piece of cloth is half finished. The shuttle hangs suspended by a thread. The pattern is complex, geometric, but in the dark it is all just gray. The work waits. It does not demand. It will be there tomorrow. The weaver is asleep in the next room. His breathing is audible, a soft snore that rhythmically breaks the quiet. In, out, in, out. The rhythm of breath is the universal rhythm of the night. Every living thing in the city, from the senator to the slave, from the dog to the horse, is bound by this rhythm. You are part of this rhythm too. The night deepens. We are approaching the third watch, the deepest part of the night, the time when the body temperature drops, when dreams are most vivid, when the world is most still. Even the rats are moving slowly now, scurrying along the gutters with quiet, careful steps. They find a crumb of bread, they stop, they eat, they move on. The lamp in the street that we saw earlier, the one the lamp lighter lit, it is flickering now. The oil is nearly gone. The flame dances wildly for a moment, fighting the inevitable. It pulses, bright, dim, and then with a final wisp of gray smoke it goes out. The darkness claims that corner of the street. It is a gentle conquest. The shadows merge. The definition is lost. Now there is only the starlight, cold, distant, ancient light. It touches the cobblestones. It touches the roof tiles. It touches the sleeping face of the fisherman. The world is paused. We have reached the midpoint of the darkness. The moon has climbed to the very center of the sky. It hangs there, a silent spectator, casting a pale, milky light over the sprawling empire. The shadows are at their shortest now, puddling directly beneath the objects that cast them. This is the hour when the weight of sleep is heaviest. It presses down on the rooftops, on the eyelids of the few who are still awake, on the very air itself. The energy of the previous day has completely dissipated, and the energy of the coming morning has not yet begun to gather. We are in the void between times. Let us drift into the Forum. By day, this is the beating heart of the city. It is a place of shouting orators, arguing lawyers, merchants selling luxury goods, and citizens exchanging gossip. But now, it is a vast, empty canyon of stone. Walk with me across the paving stones. They are cool now. The heat is gone. The stones are slick with a heavy dew that has settled in the last hour. Your footsteps would echo here, bouncing off the marble facades of the temples. Clip, clop, clip, clop, but we are floating, so there is no sound, only the visual of the empty space. Look at the statues standing on their plinths, bronze generals and marble senators. They stand frozen in mid-gesture, an arm raised to command an army that isn't there, a hand extended to offer a scroll that no one can take. In the daylight, they look imposing. In the moonlight, they look lonely. They are just metal and stone, waiting for an audience that is asleep. A gentle breeze rolls through the open square. It catches the edge of a toga on a statue, but the bronze does not move. It swirls dust around the base of a column. We move past the rostra, the platform for speeches. It is bare. No voice booms across the square. The silence is so profound that you can hear the settling of the buildings, a creak of timber from inside the basilica, a pop of cooling stone. The city is stretching in its sleep. There is a guard here too, a public slave stationed near the Temple of Saturn where the treasury is kept. He is sitting on the steps, his back against a pillar. His spear lies on the stairs beside him. He is not asleep, but he is not fully awake either. He is in a trance of boredom. He picks at a loose thread on his tunic. He pulls it. It snaps. He looks at the thread. He drops it. He looks at the moon. He sighs. It is a long, shuddering sigh that seems to deflate his whole body. He wraps his cloak tighter around his shoulders. The night is damp. He is thinking of a bowl of warm lentil stew. He can almost smell it, but there is no stew. There is only the marble step and the moon. He closes his eyes for a moment, listening to the silence. Leaving the forum, we drift towards the river district again, but this time to the warehouses, the Horia. These are massive brick structures, windowless and imposing. Inside, the wealth of the empire is stored: grain, oil, wine, spices. The doors are locked with heavy iron bars, but we can sense the stillness inside. Imagine the rows and rows of amphorae, tall clay jars with pointed bottoms, stacked in sand or leaning against each other. Thousands of them. Inside the warehouse, it is pitch black. The air is thick with the smell of olive oil and dust. Nothing moves. The mice are cautious. The spiders are still in their webs. It is a cathedral of storage. Outside, a stray dog trots by the warehouse wall. Its claws click on the pavement. Click, click, click. It stops to sniff a corner. It sneezes, chuff. It trots on. It has a destination, or perhaps it is just patrolling its territory, the king of the trash heaps. The pacing of the night is glacial. There is no rush to get to dawn. The dawn will come when it is ready. Let us move to a smaller, more intimate space, a room in an upper apartment of an insula. The room is small, cramped. A family sleeps here on simple straw mattresses. The room is filled with the sound of breathing. The father snores, a deep rumbling rattle, ghhhaya, pfff. The mother breathes softly, a rhythmic whistle, hoo, hoo. A child shifts in their sleep, an arm flinging out to hit the wall with a soft thud. They do not wake. The sleep of the laborer is deep. It is a sleep earned by lifting, carrying, walking, and working. It is a heavy, dreamless state. The body is repairing itself, knitting together muscle fibers, soothing aching joints. In the corner of the room, on a small wooden table, sits a clay cup. A fly lands on the rim. It walks along the edge. It cleans its wings. It flies away. The room remains as it was. This is the reality of the Roman night. It is not an orgy or a banquet. It is a crowded room, smelling of sweat and sleep, where ordinary people recharge for another day of survival. It is peaceful in its simplicity. Now we travel to the edge of the city, to a place where the work begins early. The distinct smell of yeast reaches us before we see the building. It is a large commercial bakery, a pistrinum. While the rest of the city is in its deepest sleep, the bakers are waking up. The bread must be ready for the morning. Inside, the air is warm and humid. A donkey is harnessed to a large stone mill in the center of the room. The mill is shaped like an hourglass resting on a cone. The donkey looks tired. Its head hangs low. A boy, the baker's apprentice, gently taps the donkey's flank. The donkey takes a step, grind. The top stone turns against the bottom stone, rumble. The sound is low and constant. Grain is poured into the top. Flour trickles out the bottom. The donkey walks in a circle, round and round. Step, step, step. The floor has a groove worn into it from years of these hooves walking this circle. The boy does not speak. He leans against a pillar watching the donkey. He rubs his eyes. He is young, perhaps 12. He would rather be asleep. He yawns, his mouth opening wide, stretching his jaw. He blinks, trying to clear the fog of sleep. In the back, the head baker is tending the oven. It is a massive brick dome. He is feeding it bundles of kindling. The fire crackles. Snap. Pop. The orange light dances on his sweaty face. He wipes his forehead with a flour-covered arm, leaving a white streak across his skin. He moves with slow, practiced motions. He takes a wooden paddle. He moves a loaf of dough. He slides it into the oven. Slide, withdraw, slide, withdraw. There is no conversation. The noise of the mill, rumble, grind, rumble, masks everything else. It is a hypnotic industrial rhythm, the creation of the daily bread. It is boring work, repetitive work, essential work. You can watch the donkey's ears twitch. You can watch the dust motes swirl in the shaft of moonlight coming through the high window. The flour dust hangs in the air like a fog, softening the light, making everything look dreamlike. Feel the warmth of the bakery. It contrasts with the cool night air outside. It is a cozy, drowsy warmth. It makes you want to curl up in the corner on a sack of flour and close your eyes. We leave the bakery and the grinding mill behind. We float back out into the cool, silent street. We find ourselves near a public bathhouse again, but this time outside the entrance. The portico is lined with columns. Sitting between two columns is a beggar. He is wrapped in layers of rags. He is not asleep. He is looking at the stars. He has nowhere to be, no job to go to in the morning. His life is a permanent state of waiting. He shifts his position on the hard stone. He pulls his knees to his chest. He rocks slightly, back and forth, back and forth. It is a self-soothing motion. He hums a low note. He watches a cloud drift across the moon. The cloud is thin like a veil. It dims the light for a moment, then passes. The light returns. The beggar closes his eyes. He is content for now. He is safe. The night hides him. The night demands nothing of him. Nearby, a fountain splashes. This is a constant in the Roman city. The water never stops. The aqueducts bring it from the mountains, miles away, flowing by gravity alone. It pours into the city day and night. Listen to the water splash, gurgle, splash. It falls into a stone basin. The basin is overflowing, the water spilling onto the street and running down the gutter. It cleans the street. It sings to the street. Water is the only thing that moves quickly in this frozen world. But even its movement is repetitive. It always falls the same way. It always makes the same sound. We move now to the house of a wealthy man, a patrician. But we are not going to the bedrooms. We are going to the study, the tablinum. A single lamp burns here. The flame is steady, protected by a glass shield. A man sits at a desk. He is a scholar or perhaps a lawyer preparing a case. He is old. His hair is white and thin. He holds a reed pen, a calamus. He dips the pen into an inkwell. Dip. He brings the pen to a sheet of papyrus. Scratch. The sound of the pen on the papyrus is dry and raspy. Scritch. Scratch. Scritch. He writes a sentence. He pauses. He stares at the lamp. He thinks. He writes another word. He crosses it out. Scritch, scratch. He is tired. His eyes burn. He rubs the bridge of his nose with his thumb and forefinger. He takes a sip of watered wine from a silver cup. He sets the cup down. Clink. He is working while the world sleeps. He is trying to capture thoughts in ink. It is a lonely pursuit. The silence of the house presses in on him. He can hear the settling of the wooden beams in the ceiling. He can hear the scuttling of a gecko on the wall. He looks at the scroll. It is full of words. Latin words, complex grammar, arguments, logic. But right now in the dim light they are just black marks on brown paper. He puts the pen down. He leans back in his chair. The wood creaks. He closes his eyes just for a moment, he thinks, just to rest his eyes. His breathing slows. His head nods forward. He jerks it back up. He is awake. He picks up the pen. Dip, scratch. The persistence of the human mind, even when the body craves rest. But there is no urgency here for you. You do not need to read what he is writing. You only need to hear the sound of the pen, the rhythm of the work. Let us drift away from the scholar, leaving him to his words. We go to the city wall again. The guard we saw earlier has been relieved. A new guard stands there, but the view is the same, the darkness, the olive trees, the distant hills. But look down at the base of the wall. There is a small encampment of travelers who arrived after the gates were closed at sunset. They cannot enter the city until dawn. They have made a camp outside the walls. A small fire burns low, merely glowing embers now, red eyes in the dark. The travelers are asleep on the ground, wrapped in cloaks. A donkey stands tethered to a stake, sleeping while standing up. One of the travelers wakes. He sits up. He pokes the fire with a stick. A few sparks fly up. He warms his hands over the embers. He looks at the massive gate of the city, closed, barred. Indifferent, he looks at the sky. He judges the time by the position of the Great Bear constellation. It is late or early. He lies back down. He pulls his cloak over his head. He goes back to the darkness. There is a patience in this era that we have forgotten. The gate will open when the sun rises, not a minute sooner. There is no way to speed it up. There is no one to call. You simply wait. You sleep. You exist. The wind shifts again. It carries the scent of pine from the distant hills. It blows through the camp, rustling the dry grass. SHHH, SHHH. It is a lullaby, nature singing to the city. The city is a stone island in a sea of nature, and at night, nature reclaims the edges. The owls hoot in the cypress trees. Hoo, hoo. The bats flutter silently overhead, hunting the moths that circle the few remaining lights. We are suspended in this moment, the profound, boring, beautiful silence of the Roman night. There is no war, no crisis, just the slow rotation of the earth. The baker bakes, the scholar writes, the guard stands, the sleepers sleep. And you are floating among them, unseen, unburdened. You are witnessing the time that history books skip, the time when nothing happens, and that is the most peaceful time of all. The air has changed. Can you feel it? It is no longer just cool, it is cold. A damp, clinging cold that seeps into the stone and wood. This is the hour of the wolf, the time when the city is most vulnerable to the elements, when the warmth of the previous day is a distant memory and the warmth of the coming sun is still a promise unkept. We are drifting through a thick fog. It wraps around the columns of the temples, cutting them off halfway up, so the roofs seem to float in a gray ocean. The sound of the city is muffled, as if the whole world has been wrapped in wool. We move towards the riverbank again. The Tiber is invisible beneath the mist, but you can hear it. It is louder now, swollen with the dampness of the night. Rush, swirl, rush. Out of the gray nothingness, a shape emerges. It is a boat. Not a large barge this time, but a small fishing skiff. It is returning. The fisherman we saw earlier is rowing home. Watch the oars. They dip into the water, splash. They pull back, creak. They lift, dripping water. Drip, drip, drip. The rower is tired. His movements are mechanical. He does not look left or right. He looks only at the rhythm of his own hands. His knuckles are white with cold. His breath comes in short, visible puffs of steam that mix with the fog and vanish. Inside the boat, at his feet, lie silver fish. They are still. Their scales catch the faint, diffuse light of the fading moon. They are cold, slippery, silent. The catch is done. The work is done. Now there is only the rowing. Dip, pull, lift, dip, pull, lift. The boat glides toward a wooden jetty. The wood is black with moisture. A figure stands there, waiting. It is a fishmonger wrapped in a heavy cloak of rough wool. He says nothing. He reaches out a hand. He catches the rope thrown by the fisherman. He ties the knot. It is a simple knot. Loop, pull, tighten. The boat bumps against the wood, thump. A gentle, hollow sound, the end of a journey. They begin to unload the fish, basket by basket. The baskets are woven from willow branches. They creak as they are lifted. Lift, pass, set down, lift, pass, set down. The fish slide against each other, slither, a wet, organic sound. The smell of the river and the raw fish is sharp and salty in the cold air. It is not a pleasant smell, perhaps, but it is a real one. It grounds you. It tells you that life continues even in the gray fog. There is no haggling yet. It is too early for money. It is too early for words. There is only the transfer of weight, from the water to the land, from the boat to the basket. Leaving the river, we float inland through the damp streets. The cobblestones are slick with condensation. If you were walking, you would have to be careful not to slip, but we are gliding. We come to a narrow alley behind a row of shops. Here, a different kind of work is happening. The work of the stercorarii, the manure collectors. It is a job that must be done before the city wakes. A cart stands in the alley. It is low and sturdy. A man is shoveling refuse from a public pit into the cart. Scrape. The shovel hits the stone bottom of the pit. Lift. The load is heavy. Toss. It lands in the cart with a soft, wet thud. The man does not rush. He cannot rush. The smell is strong, but he is used to it. He has tied a cloth around his nose and mouth. His eyes are blank, focused on nothing. He is simply a machine for moving matter. Scrape, lift, toss, scrape, lift, toss. The mule pulling the cart stands with its head down, eyes half closed. It twitches its tail occasionally. Swish. It waits. It knows the routine. When the cart is full, they will walk. Until then, they stand. This is the underside of the empire. The necessary, boring, dirty maintenance that allows the marble statues to look so clean. It happens in the dark, in the fog, while the senators sleep in their silk sheets. There is a strange peace in this alley. No one is shouting. No one is judging. There is just the rhythmic sound of the shovel and the heavy breathing of the mule. It is a hypnotic loop of labor. We leave the alley and move to a wider street. Here we see a fulanica, a fullery, a laundry and cloth processing workshop. The doors are open to let in the cool air. Inside, the scene is dimly lit by hanging lanterns. Large terracotta vats are set into the floor. In these vats, men are standing. They are treading cloth. They are stepping on wool tunics soaked in water and cleansing agents. They hold onto low walls for balance. Their legs move up and down. Left, right, left, right. It is a marching rhythm. Splash, splosh, splash, splosh. They are marching to nowhere. They will march in these tubs for hours. The water swirls around their ankles. The cloth churns beneath their feet. One of the workers is humming a low, repetitive tune. 3 notes. Down, up, down. It helps him keep the rhythm. The others are silent. Their heads are bowed. They are half asleep, their bodies moving on muscle memory alone. Watch the water splash against the side of the vat. It rises, it falls. Rise, fall, rise, fall. The air here smells of damp wool and sulfur. It is a thick, humid smell. The lantern swings slightly in the draft, casting moving shadows on the peeling plaster walls. The shadows dance, long, short, mimicking the stepping of the men. It is physically exhausting work, yet it is monotonous. There is no decision to be made, just the next step, and the next, and the next. Imagine your own thoughts stepping into that vat, being washed clean, trod upon until they are soft and formless. Splash, splosh. We drift out of the fulanica, leaving the rhythmic splashing behind. We ascend, going up over the roofs, out of the thickest fog. We find ourselves on the balcony of a high-status apartment. The air is slightly clearer here. We can see the first hint of change in the eastern sky. It is not light yet. It is just a lessening of the dark. The black is turning to a deep, bruised purple. A bird wakes up. A single sparrow, it chirps cheap. It waits cheap. It is a small, tentative sound asking if the day is coming. There is no answer yet. The bird falls silent again. Inside the apartment, a slave is waking up. She is a young girl, the fire keeper. She rolls off her straw mat in the corridor. She rubs her eyes. The house is freezing. She shivers, pulling her thin tunic tighter. She walks to the kitchen. Her bare feet make no sound on the tile floor. She goes to the hearth. The embers from last night are buried under gray ash. She kneels. The stone is hard against her knees. She takes an iron poker. She gently stirs the ash. Scrape. Stir. A tiny glow of red is revealed, a sleeping eye of fire. She leans down. She blows on it. Woo-woo. The ash flies up in a small cloud. The red glow brightens. It turns orange. She places a small handful of dry straw on the ember. She blows again. Woo-woo. Smoke curls up, gray and acrid. It smells of dry grass. Suddenly, a small flame catches. Flicker. It is weak. It struggles. She feeds it a small twig, then another. The fire grows. It is a small victory in the dark house. The light expands, pushing back the shadows in the kitchen. It illuminates the copper pans hanging on the wall. It illuminates the girl's face, serious and focused. She sits back on her heels. She holds her hands out to the flame. She rubs them together. Rub, rub. She is not thinking of the empire. She is only feeling the warmth. That specific prickling warmth of blood returning to cold fingers. This is the start of the domestic day. Before the food, before the cleaning, there is the fire. It is a ritual performed in every house, in every city for thousands of years. Watch the flames. They dance and twist. They are never the same shape twice, yet they are always the same. Now let us leave the city for a moment. Let us fly over the walls, past the sleeping travelers, out into the countryside. The Villa Rustica, a working farm. The fog is even thicker here. It clings to the ground, obscuring the furrows of the plowed fields. The olive trees are just ghostly shapes, like old men hunched over in the mist. We go to the barn. It is a structure of wood and thatch. Inside, it is warm and smells of hay and animals. Goats are here, a herd of them. They are shifting in their sleep. Rustle, bleat. A farmhand enters. He carries a wooden bucket. He hangs a lantern on a nail. The light swings, revealing the eyes of the goats, rectangular pupils staring in the semi-darkness. He opens a gate, creak. He sits on a three-legged stool beside a goat. He leans his head against the goat's warm flank. The goat chews its cud. Crunch, crunch. A slow, sideways grinding of the jaw. The man begins to milk. Squirt. Pshhh, squirt. Pshhh. The milk hits the bottom of the empty bucket. It is a sharp metallic sound. Ping, ping, ping. As the bucket fills, the sound changes. It becomes deeper, softer. A frothy, muffled sound. Plosh, plosh, plosh. The rhythm is steady. The man's hands are strong and rhythmic. Squeeze, pull, release, squeeze, pull, release. The goat stands still. The barn is quiet except for the milk and the chewing. It is a moment of pure connection between man and nature. No words are needed. The milk rises in the bucket, warm and white, steaming slightly in the cool air. Outside the barn, a rooster considers crowing but decides it is too early. He ruffles his feathers. Flap, flap. He settles back down. The world is not quite ready for the noise. We move to the fields. The dew is heavy on the wheat stalks. Each stalk bows slightly under the weight of the water droplets. If you look closely, very closely, you can see a single drop sliding down a blade of grass. It slides slowly, gathering speed. It reaches the tip. It hangs there, trembling. Then it falls, drip. It lands on the soil. It is absorbed instantly. Multiply this by 1,000,000 drops falling in the silence. This is the sound of the earth drinking. It is too quiet to hear with ears, but you can feel it. The soaking, the dampening. Back in the city, the light is shifting again. The purple is turning to a dull, slate blue. The definition of the buildings is returning. You can see the individual bricks now. You can see the cracks in the plaster. We return to the street of the bakers. The bread is in the ovens. The smell is pouring out into the street. It mixes with the fog, warm yeast and cold mist. The baker opens the shutters of his shop. Clack. He places a wooden board on the counter. He brings out the first loaves, round, scored into 8 sections like a wheel. They are brown and crusty. He stacks them, one on top of 2, 3 on top of those, a pyramid of bread. He is not selling yet, he is just preparing. He wipes his hands on his apron. He leans on the counter and looks out at the empty street. He sees the manure cart passing in the distance. He nods to the driver. The driver nods back, a silent greeting between the night shifts. We are here. We are working. We are tired. A heavy wagon rolls by, delivering wine to a tavern. The barrels are huge. The driver maneuvers the wagon carefully around a corner. Creak. Rumble. Stop. He backs it up. Creak. Rumble. Stop. He jumps down. His boots hit the pavement with a heavy thud. He unhooks a ramp from the side of the wagon. Clang. He begins to roll a barrel down the ramp. He holds it back with all his strength. The barrel wants to roll fast. He forces it to roll slow. Grind. 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 It is a battle against gravity. Silent, straining. The wood of the barrel groans against the wood of the ramp. He guides it to the ground. He rolls it into the tavern. Then he goes back for the next one. Repetition. Effort. Release. The sky is lightening. The stars are gone now, except for the morning star, Venus, hanging bright and lonely in the east. It pierces the fog. We go to a construction site. Even Rome was always under construction. A new temple is being built. The scaffolding is made of timber poles lashed together with rope. It looks like a skeleton surrounding the stone core. No one is working yet. The site is still. But we can see the tools left from yesterday. A chisel lying on a block of marble. A wooden mallet. A measuring rope coiled like a snake. A layer of white dust covers everything. Wait, a guard dog is waking up on the site. A large Molossian hound. It stretches. Front legs forward, back arched. It yawns, showing pink gums and white teeth. It shakes itself. Flap, 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 flap. The sound of its ears hitting its head is loud in the quiet morning. It trots to a puddle. It laps the water. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Simple needs, simple actions. The city is holding its breath. The transition is almost complete. The night is over, but the day has not started. This is the liminal space, the boring space. Imagine you are a stone in the wall of that temple. You are cold. You are heavy. You are sitting exactly where you were placed. You do not move. You do not think. You just exist, bearing the weight of the stone above you, supported by the stone below you. You have been there for a week. You will be there for 1,000 years. The sun will rise and warm you. The night will fall and cool you. Rain will wash you. Dust will cover you, but you will not move. There is a profound comfort in that stability. To be unmoving in a world that moves too much. The fog is beginning to lift slightly, or perhaps it is just thinning. The tops of the 7 hills are becoming visible, dark humps against the lightening sky. On the Palatine Hill, where the emperor lives, the lights are beginning to multiply. Slaves are waking up to prepare the palace. But that is a world of anxiety and politics. We do not go there. We stay here, in the street, with the baker, with the manure collector, with the sleeping dog. We stay in the boring, beautiful reality of the ground level. A door opens across the street. A woman steps out. She carries a clay jug. She is going to the fountain. She wears a shawl over her head. She walks quickly, shivering. Step, step, step. She reaches the fountain. She places the jug under the spout. The water fills it. The sound changes pitch as the water rises, low, medium, high. She lifts the heavy jug. She balances it on her hip. She walks back, step, step, step. The door closes, click. She was there. Now she is gone. A momentary ripple in the stillness. The fourth watch is ending. The sun is approaching the horizon, though it is not yet visible. The gray is turning to a pale, washed-out blue. The false dawn. The air is still freezing. The condensation is heavy. The world is wet and cold and slow. But you are warm. You are watching from a distance. You can feel the cold without shivering. You can see the work without tiring. You can let the gray fog wrap around you, soft and thick. The world is waking up, but it does so with a heavy reluctance. There is no sudden burst of activity. Instead, the city stirs like a large animal stretching its limbs one by one. The transition from the gray of the wolf's hour to the pale light of morning is seamless. You cannot mark the second it happens. You can only observe that the light has changed. Look up. The tops of the highest temples, the great roofs of the Capitolium, are beginning to glow. A faint, dusty pink is brushing against the marble. It is the first touch of the sun, though the streets below remain in the cool, blue shadow. The light descends the building slowly, floor by floor, like honey dripping down a spoon. Down here on the street, the air is crisp. It is the kind of cold that wakes the face but makes the body want to curl up warmer. We drift towards a street corner where a barber, a tonsure, is setting up his workspace. He does not have a shop. His shop is the street. He places a low, wooden stool on the cobblestones. The wood is old, polished smooth by the backsides of 1,000 customers. He opens a small leather case. Inside are his tools, bronze razors, iron shears, a small pot of oil. He takes out a razor. The blade is curved, dull gray metal. He takes a leather strop, a strip of tough cowhide hanging from a hook on the wall behind him. He begins to sharpen the blade. Slap, slide, slap, slide. The sound is rhythmic and soothing. Leather against metal, swish clack, swish clack. He does this for a long time. He is in no hurry. The sharper the blade, the easier the work. He tests the edge against his thumb. Not yet. He continues. Slap, slide. A man approaches. He is a laborer, his face covered in the stubble of a week. He nods to the barber. He sits on the stool. He leans his head back. He closes his eyes. The barber does not speak. He applies a little oil to the man's face. He rubs it in. Rub, rub, rub. The motion is circular, hypnotic. The man on the stool lets out a long breath. He is trusting the barber. He is resting before the hard labor of the day begins. The razor touches the skin. Scrape. It is a dry, raspy sound. The hair is severed. The skin is revealed. Scrape. Wipe, scrape, wipe. There is an intimacy in this public grooming, a quiet care. The barber tilts the man's chin up. He works around the jawline, careful, slow. Passers-by walk around them. They do not stare. This is just part of the furniture of the morning. Further down the street, a group of children is walking. They are young boys, perhaps 7 or 8 years old. They are walking to school. In Rome, school begins at dawn. They look sleepy. Their tunics are slightly crumpled. They clutch small wooden tablets coated in wax, their notebooks. They do not run, they trudge. Their sandals drag slightly on the stones. Scuff, scuff. Walking behind them is an older man, their pedagogus, a slave tasked with guiding them and carrying their heavy satchels. He walks with a steady, plodding gait. He yawns, covering his mouth with a hand that has seen years of work. The boys are silent. They are still half in the world of dreams. One boy stops to look at a snail crawling across the path. The snail is moving across a wet stone. It leaves a glistening trail of silver slime. The boy watches the snail's antennae extend, retract, extend. The pedagogist gently nudges the boy. "Come," he murmurs, but he is not angry. He understands the allure of the snail. He understands the reluctance to start the day. They move on, scuff, scuff. The street is becoming busier, but it is a quiet busyness. It is the sound of feet, not voices, the clack of wooden-soled shoes, the slap of leather sandals, the thud of bare feet. It is a percussion orchestra of walking, a rhythm of humanity moving towards its duty. We pass a doorway where a woman is sweeping the threshold. Every morning the dust of the city must be pushed back. She uses a broom made of bundled twigs. Swish, swish, swish. She sweeps the dust into the gutter. She sweeps the dried leaves. She sweeps the memory of the night away. She stops to straighten her back. She looks at the sky. She checks the weather. It will be a clear day, a working day. She goes back to sweeping. Swish, swish. The repetition is the point. The cleanliness will not last. The dust will return by noon. But for now, the stone is clean. There is satisfaction in that temporary order. Let us move to the market square, the Macelum. It is an open courtyard surrounded by shops. The vendors are setting up. A vegetable seller is arranging his stall. He has a cart full of cabbages, leeks, and onions. They are fresh from the damp fields we saw earlier. He picks up a cabbage. It is heavy, dense, green. He peels off a wilted outer leaf. Snap. The leaf breaks crisply. He places the cabbage on the counter. He picks up another. Snap. Place. He builds a wall of green. He is meticulous. He turns each vegetable so the best side faces the customer. He is an artist of the ordinary. The smell of the onions is sharp and clean. It cuts through the morning air. He steps back to admire his work. He adjusts one leek. He moves it 2 inches to the left. Perfect. Now he waits. He leans against the wooden post of his stall. He crosses his arms. He watches the light creep down the wall opposite him. He is not anxious to sell. The buyers will come. They always come. In the corner of the market, a butcher is hanging meat. A leg of pork, a string of sausages. The hooks are iron. Clink. The meat is heavy. Thump. He works silently. He wipes his knife on his apron. The knife is worn thin from years of sharpening. A stray cat sits 6 feet away, watching him with intense, unblinking focus. The butcher ignores the cat. The cat ignores the rest of the world. There is only the sausage. The tension between the cat and the meat is a silent, static line of energy. The light has now reached the street level in some places. Shafts of pale sun cut through the gaps between the buildings. Where the light hits, the wet stones begin to steam. Thin wisps of vapor rise up, twisting and vanishing. The city is drying out. We float through one of these shafts of light. You can see the dust motes dancing in it. Millions of tiny particles floating, colliding, rising. They are the atmosphere of the city made visible. There is no wind now. The air is still. The dust motes move only with the gentle thermal currents of the warming stone. We arrive at a fountain again. The water pressure is higher now as the aqueducts fully feed the city's thirst. The water gushes from the bronze mouth of a lion. Splash, gush, splash. A line of people has formed. They are mostly slaves from the nearby households. They carry amphorae, buckets, and jars. They stand in line. They do not talk much. It is too early for gossip. They just stand. They shift their weight from one leg to the other. They stare at the back of the person in front of them. Watch the water filling a jar. It hits the bottom. Drumming sound. It rises. The sound becomes a hollow roar. It reaches the neck. Glug, glug. It overflows. Splosh. The person pulls the jar away. Water drips down the side, turning the dry clay dark red. They lift it. They groan softly under the weight. They walk away. Next person steps up. Repeat. Drumming, roar, glug, splosh. It is a cycle that has no beginning and no end. As long as there is Rome, there is this line. As long as there is thirst, there is this water. There is a profound peace in being part of a line. You do not have to make decisions. You just wait your turn. You move forward one step at a time. Across the street, the shutters of a workshop are being thrown open. This is a musuarius, a mosaic maker. Inside, the floor is covered in small baskets of stone cubes tesserae. White marble, black basalt, red brick, yellow limestone. The craftsman sits on the floor. He is working on a panel, a geometric pattern of black waves on white. He picks up a black stone. He applies a dab of mortar. He places it. Click. He taps it with a small hammer to level it. Tap, tap. Pick up, mortar, place, click, level, tap, tap. He does this thousands of times. He does not see the whole wave. He sees only the one stone he is holding. He fits it perfectly against its neighbor. The gap must be tight. His hands are rough, covered in gray dust, but his movements are delicate, precise. Click, tap, tap, click, tap, tap. The sound is small, dry, and regular, like a clock ticking in stone. If you watch him long enough, the pattern begins to swim before your eyes. Black, white, black, white. It is a visual lullaby. He is creating a floor that people will walk on for centuries. But he is not thinking of centuries. He is thinking of the next 3 millimeters. Outside, the noise of traffic is beginning to increase. But remember, traffic in Rome is not engines. It is hooves and wheels and feet. A donkey train is passing. 6 donkeys tied together. They are carrying bundles of firewood. The wood creaks against the leather straps, creak squeak. The donkey's hooves clip-clop on the stones. The driver walks beside them. He whistles a low, aimless tune. It has no melody, really. It is just breath escaping his lips. The donkeys look bored. Their long ears swivel back and forth. One of them snatches a mouthful of straw from a gutter as it passes. It chews while it walks. Chomp, step, chomp, step. The driver does not notice, or he does not care. The train passes slowly. It takes a long time for 6 donkeys to walk past a single point. Watch the first donkey, then the second, then the third. By the 4th, your eyes are heavy. By the 6th, they are closing. The sun is fully up now, though still low in the east. The light is golden, no longer pink. It has warmth in it. A cat is sleeping on a roof tile that has caught the sun. It is stretched out long and flat. It is soaking up every photon of energy. Its fur is black and shiny. Its belly rises and falls, in, out. It is the image of pure, unadulterated comfort. It has found the warm spot. It has claimed it. It will not move until the shadow returns. In a courtyard below, a woman is spinning wool. She holds the distaff in one hand and the spindle in the other. She pulls the fibers. She twists the spindle. Whir. The spindle spins, suspended in the air. The wool turns into thread. She winds it. She pulls. She twists. Whir. It is a motion as old as civilization. The thread lengthens. It is thin, even, strong. She works mechanically. She is looking at her children playing knucklebones in the corner. Click, clack. The bones hit the floor. The children laugh, but quietly. They are absorbed in the game. The mother's hands never stop. Pull, twist, spin, wind. The morning has established its rhythm. The frantic potential of the dawn has settled into the steady gait of the day. Everyone has their task. Everyone is in their place. The anxiety of the unknown is gone. The day is here. It is a known quantity. It is just like yesterday. It will be just like tomorrow. We drift back to the river. The mist is gone now. The water sparkles in the low sunlight. It looks like liquid metal flowing heavily towards the sea. The barges are being unloaded. Men are carrying sacks of grain down a gangplank. They walk in a loop. Pick up sack. Walk down plank. Drop sack. Walk up plank. Pick up sack. Walk down plank. Drop sack. Walk up plank. It is a human conveyor belt. The plank bends under their weight. Creak. It springs back when they step off. The sacks land with a heavy, muffled thud. Dust rises from the sacks. A fine white powder of flour. It coats the men's skin. They look like ghosts in the sunlight. They do not talk. They save their breath for the work. There is a hypnotic quality to their movement, the steady flow of bodies, the endless supply of sacks, one after another. one after another. You can match your breathing to their walking, in as they walk up, out as they walk down, in, out. The city is a machine made of flesh and stone. It runs on this slow, burning energy. There is no rest here, yes, but there is also no frantic rushing. The pace is set by the limits of the human body. It cannot go faster, so it goes steady. It goes deep. High above, a hawk circles. It rides a thermal. It does not flap its wings. It just glides in a perfect circle. It looks down at the city. It sees the dots of people, the lines of the streets, the glint of the river. From up there, nothing seems to be moving at all. It is just a tableau of stone and light. Static, peaceful, silent. The noise of the city rises to meet the hawk, but by the time it gets there, it is just a low, constant hum, like the sound of a distant ocean, or the sound of blood rushing in your ears when you lie on a pillow. A white noise of existence. We descend again, slowly, spiraling down towards a quiet street lined with high walls. Private gardens lie behind them. We can hear the bees waking up, a low buzzing from the lavender bushes. Bzzzzzzzzzzz. They move from flower to flower, methodical, efficient. They are working too. Even the insects have their job. A window opens on the second floor of a house. A person shakes out a rug. Flap, flap, dust flies out. The rug is pulled back in. The window closes, clunk. The street is empty again. The sun climbs a fraction of an inch higher. The shadows shorten by a fraction of an inch. Time passes, grain by grain, drop by drop, step by step. You are watching a day that happened 2,000 years ago. Nothing can go wrong. It has already happened. It is fixed in amber. You are safe to watch, safe to listen, safe to let your eyes lose focus on the screen of your mind. The water carrier we saw yesterday, he is back. He is walking the same street, carrying the same jars. His step is the same, creak, step, creak, step. The world turns. The work remains, and in that repetition there is a deep, profound, boring peace. The day has fully taken hold of the city. The tentative blue of the early morning is gone, replaced by a sky of relentless, saturated azure. It is a beautiful color, but it is also a demanding one. Under this sky, everything is visible. There are no corners left to hide in. There is only the work, exposed and undeniable. The air has lost its chill. It is beginning to warm up, promising the heat that will come later. Dust, the eternal companion of Rome, kicks up from the dry streets. It hangs in the air at knee height, a faint haze that coats the sandals of everyone who walks. We drift into a small, semi-open shopfront that serves as a school, a ludus literarius. It is not a grand building. It is simply a space separated from the street by a curtain. Inside, the air is still and smells of wax and old wood. A dozen boys sit on backless wooden benches. They are hunched over. On their knees rest their wooden tablets coated in black beeswax. In their hands they hold the stylus, a sharp metal instrument. Listen to the sound of the room. It is a drone, a collective murmur. The teacher, a man with a tired face and a tunic worn thin at the elbows, stands at the front. He holds a cane, but he uses it only to tap the rhythm on the floor. Tap, tap, tap. He speaks a letter. A, the boys repeat it. A, their voices are flat, unenthusiastic. They are not discovering the wonders of language. They are performing a mechanical task. The teacher speaks again. B, the boys drone back. B. Now the writing. Watch the hand of the boy nearest to us. His knuckles are white. He presses the stylus into the wax. Scritch. He draws a line down. Scritch. He draws a loop. The wax resists. It curls up in tiny black shavings at the tip of the stylus. He brushes them away with his thumb. Brush. The shavings fall to the floor to join the dust. He looks at his letter, it is crooked. He uses the flat end of the stylus, the eraser, to smooth the wax back down. Rub, rub, smooth, the letter is gone. The wax is flat again. He starts over. Scritch. This is the essence of Roman education. Repetition, correction, repetition. There is no rush to finish the alphabet. The alphabet will always be there. The goal is the discipline of the hand, the subduing of the mind to the task. Outside the school, the noise of the street has merged into a single, continuous hum. It is no longer possible to pick out individual sounds. It is a wall of acoustic texture. The rumble of wheels, the clip of hooves, the murmur of voices, it all blends together into a white noise that acts like a blanket. It does not distract, it lulls. We float down the street to the workshop of a carpenter. The shop is filled with the scent of sawdust, fresh pine, bitter oak, sweet cedar. It is a sharp, clean smell that tickles the nose. Sawdust floats in the sunbeams that pierce the gloom of the shop. It settles on everything. On the tools, on the workbench, on the hair of the carpenter. He is planing a long board. He stands at one end of the bench. He places the iron plane on the wood. He grips the handles. He pushes. Shhhua. A long, curly shaving of wood rises up from the plane, curling like a ribbon. It falls to the floor. Whisper. He pulls the plane back. He pushes again. Shhhua. Another shaving, identical to the first. He does this again and again. The sound is rhythmic, almost like a slow breath. Shhhua. Pause. Shhhua. Pause. He runs his hand over the wood to check for smoothness. His palm is rough, but his touch is sensitive. He finds a rough spot. He planes it again. Shhhua. He is not thinking of the table this wood will become. He is not thinking of the customer who ordered it. He is only thinking of the grain, the knot in the wood, the resistance of the fiber against the iron. It is a meditation in motion. Back and forth, back and forth. The pile of shavings at his feet grows higher, a soft, golden mound of waste. You can watch the dust particles swirl in the wake of his movement. They spiral and drift, taking minutes to settle back down. Time here is measured in inches of wood smoothed. Further along, in the shadow of a colonnade, a money changer sits at his table. This is the world of bureaucracy, of commerce. But do not think of excitement. Think of the tedium of numbers. He has a pile of coins in front of him. Denarii, sestertii, asses. They are dirty. They have passed through 1,000 hands. They smell of copper and sweat. He picks up a coin. He looks at it. He checks the weight in his hand. He places it in a stack. Clink. He picks up another, checks it. Stack. Clink. He picks up a third, checks it. Stack. Clink. He takes a stylus and a piece of papyrus. He writes a number. Scratch, scratch. He looks back at the coins. He counts them again just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. His lips move silently as he counts. It is a slow, mouthing motion. He is surrounded by the rush of the forum, but he is in a bubble of calculation. He is an island of stillness. Watch his finger move down the list of numbers. It stops. He thinks. He taps the table. Tap, tap. He continues. There is no drama here, only accuracy, only the endless, boring necessity of keeping track. The sun beats down on the pavement outside. The stones are getting hot now. A lizard darts out from a crack in the wall. It stops in the sun. It pumps its body up and down. Push up, push up. It looks at the money changer. It blinks. It darts away. Life continues in the small gaps of the city. We move now to a construction site, larger than the one we saw at dawn. The work is in full swing here, but full swing in the Roman world is slow. It is heavy. 2 men are mixing mortar in a large wooden trough. They hold hose with holes in the blades. They pull the hose through the thick gray sludge. Squelch. They push it back. Squelch. The lime, the sand, the water, it resists them. It is heavy, sticky mud. They work in a rhythm. One pulls, the other pushes. Squelch, slop, squelch, slop. They do not speak. They are breathing hard. Sweat drips from their noses into the mortar. It disappears. The mortar does not care. They stop for a moment to wipe their faces. They lean on their hose. They look at the gray mud. It settles, smoothing itself out. They begin again. Squelch. A crane stands nearby, a massive wooden contraption powered by a treadmill. A large hamster wheel for humans. Inside the wheel, two men are walking. Step, step, step. The wheel turns, creak, groan. The rope tightens. A block of stone rises inch by inch into the air. The men in the wheel are walking uphill, but they never go anywhere. They are walking in place. Endless stairs. They look at their feet. They look at the wooden slats of the wheel. Step, step, step. The wood groans under their weight. It is a sound of strain, of tension. Creak. The stone block reaches the top of the wall. The foreman signals with a hand. The wheel stops. The men stand still, panting. They hold the wheel with their weight. Their legs burn. They wait. The stone is positioned. The signal comes. Walk backwards. They walk backwards. The stone lowers into place. Thud. It is done. One stone out of thousands. They wipe their brows. They wait for the next hook, the next lift, the next walk to nowhere. There is a profound resignation in their posture. They have accepted the wheel. They have accepted the gravity. You can feel the heaviness of that stone, the inertia, the sheer effort required to change the face of the world one block at a time. We float away from the dust of the construction site towards the river again. The sun reflects off the water, creating a blinding, shimmering path. On the bank, the washerwomen are working. This is not the industrial foolery, this is the riverbank. They kneel on the stones. The water rushes past their knees, cold and brown. They hold tunics in their hands. They slap them against flat rocks. Slap, slap, slap. The sound echoes across the water. It is a sharp, percussive rhythm. They dip the cloth. Swish. They wring it out. Watch the water twisting out of the fabric. It streams down their wrists. It falls back into the river. Twist. Drip, drip, drip. They are scrubbing out the stains of life. Wine, mud, sweat, oil. It is a battle against entropy, a battle to make things white again. They scrub hard. Their arms move back and forth. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The motion is vigorous, but their faces are blank. Their minds are wandering. Perhaps they are thinking of their children. Perhaps they are thinking of dinner. Perhaps they are thinking of nothing at all, just listening to the water. A duck floats past them. It paddles upstream, fighting the current. It stays in the same place relative to the bank. Paddle, paddle, paddle. The current pushes back. Paddle, paddle, paddle. It is a perfect metaphor for the day. You work to stay in place. You paddle against the flow. The heat is becoming a physical weight. You can see the air shimmering above the hot stones of the embankment. The heat haze. It makes the buildings on the other side of the river look wobbly, like they are made of jelly. The world is melting slightly at the edges. We move inland to a quiet street of wealthy houses. The windows are small and high, designed to keep the heat out and the cool air in. We enter the atrium of a house. It is dim and cool inside. The sudden drop in temperature is a relief. A slave is polishing the marble floor. He is on his hands and knees. He has a cloth soaked in beeswax and oil. He rubs the stone. Small circles. Rub, rub, rub. He moves forward 6 inches. Rub, rub, rub. The floor is black marble. It reflects his face. He watches his own reflection moving. It is a silent, lonely task. The house is quiet around him. The family is out. There is only the sound of his breathing and the soft friction of the cloth. SHHH, SHHH. He stops to dip the cloth in the pot of wax. Dip. He squeezes it. He goes back to the floor. He is erasing footprints. He is creating a mirror. The smell of the beeswax is heavy and sweet. It hangs in the still air. It is a smell of preservation, of keeping things unchanged. He reaches the edge of the impluvium, the pool in the center. He polishes the rim. He works carefully around the corners. He is focused on the shine. If he looks closely, he can see the dust motes reflected in the black stone. He wipes them away. Perfect blackness, perfect stillness. Leave him to his polishing. Let us go to the library of the same house. Scrolls are stacked in cubbyholes looking like honeycombs. A scribe is repairing an old scroll. It is torn. He sits at a table. He has a pot of glue made from flour and water. He has a strip of fresh papyrus. He applies the glue with a small brush. Dab, 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 he places the patch over the tear. He presses it down with a smooth stone. Press, roll, press, roll. He waits for it to dry. He sits perfectly still, watching the glue turn from white to clear. He is a surgeon of paper. He is saving words from oblivion, but the process is slow. It cannot be rushed. The glue dries at its own pace. He counts the seconds. 1, 2, 3. The room is so quiet you can hear the settling of the papyrus fibers. A tiny, microscopic crackle. Back on the street, the sun is nearing its zenith. The shadows are at their shortest. They huddle directly beneath the carts and the people, hiding from the glare. A street food vendor is selling sausages and porridge. He stirs a large pot. Stir, stir, stir. The spoon is wooden, stained dark by years of gravy. The porridge is thick, gray, bubbling slowly. Bloop. A bubble rises and bursts. Bloop. Another one. He wipes the rim of the pot with a rag. He looks at the crowd. He does not shout. He just stands behind the steam. The steam rises up, smelling of garlic and pork fat. It is a savory, heavy cloud. A customer approaches. A coin is exchanged. A bowl is filled. Slop. The customer eats standing up. He blows on the spoon. Woo. He eats quickly, shoveling the food in. Chew. Swallow. Chew. Swallow. Fuel for the machine. The vendor watches him. He has seen 1,000 men eat 1,000 bowls. It is all the same. The hunger returns. The pot must be refilled. The stirring must continue. High above the street on a balcony, a woman is drying herbs. She lays them out on a wicker tray, sprigs of rosemary, bundles of thyme. She arranges them in rows. She moves slowly, turning them so they catch the sun evenly. The sun will dry them. It will suck the moisture out, turning them brittle and preserving their scent. This is work that takes days. You cannot watch it happen. You can only set it up and wait. She finishes arranging them. She brushes her hands. Tiny green leaves fall to the floor. She leans on the railing and looks down at the street. From this height, the people look like ants, moving in lines, carrying burdens, stopping, starting. It creates a pattern, a flow. You are part of this flow, but you are not moving. You are the observer. You are the stillness in the center of the wheel. The day is long. We are not even halfway through. There is so much time. Time to rest. Time to breathe. Time to let the repetitive sounds of the Roman work life wash over you. The sound of the plane, shhh, the sound of the wheel, creak groan, the sound of the pen, scritch, the sound of the broom, swish. It is a symphony of boredom, a lullaby of labor. It tells you that the world is being taken care of. The stones are being lifted. The floors are being polished. The food is being cooked. You do not need to do anything. You can just be. The heat presses down. The eyelids grow heavy. The glare of the white stone is too bright. It is better to close your eyes, to listen, to drift. The third hour stretches on, unchanging, persistent, quiet. We have reached the high point of the arc. The sun stands vertical above the city. There is no angle to the light anymore. It is a direct, crushing weight. The city of Rome, built of travertine and marble, acts like a giant reflector. The streets are white rivers of glare. The heat is no longer just in the air. It is radiating upwards from the ground, baking the soles of sandals, shimmering in waves against the horizon. This is the hour when movement becomes a negotiation with the atmosphere. To move is to push against a wall of heat. The air is thick, dry, and smells of hot dust, heated pine resin, and the sweat of a million souls. Yet the work does not stop. The Roman machine is relentless. It grinds on, even under this hammer of a sun. We float to a major road leading out of the city, the Via Appia. Here, a crew of road menders is at work. The famous roads of Rome must be maintained. A section of the paving stones, the huge polygonal basalt blocks, has sunk into the mud. It must be raised. It must be leveled. 3 men stand around a massive stone block. They hold iron pry bars. The bars are hot to the touch. They have wrapped rags around their hands to hold them. The leader grunts. Heave. They push down on the bars. Groan, the stone shifts. It scrapes against its neighbor. Grrr crack. It is a sound of geology being forced to move. They hold the stone up. A 4th man, crouching low, shovels gravel underneath it. Scrape, toss, scrape, toss. The gravel hits the hollow space. Clatter. Down, the leader says. They release the bars. Thud. The stone settles. It is slightly higher now. But it is not finished. It must be rammed level. A man picks up a pavicula, a heavy wooden rammer with an iron base. It looks like a tree trunk with a handle. He lifts it to his waist. His muscles cord with the effort. Sweat runs freely down his back, turning his tunic dark. He drops it. Whump. The sound is dull. It is a thud that you feel in your chest more than you hear. He lifts. Whump. He lifts. Whump. He does not look around. He stares at the gray surface of the stone. He is watching for the moment it becomes perfectly flush with the next one. The sun beats on his neck. The dust rises from the impact, coating his sweaty skin in a fine gray paste. Lift. Drop. Whump. Lift. Drop. Whump. It is a rhythm of pure endurance. There is no skill here, only gravity and will. The road stretches out to the horizon, straight as an arrow. Thousands of stones, millions of impacts. You can rest your mind on the inevitability of it. The stone will be leveled. The road will endure. We leave the blinding white of the road and seek the relative shade of the river district again. We go to a boatyard. A small merchant vessel has been hauled up onto the bank for repairs. The smell here is overpowering. It is the smell of boiling pitch. Bitumen. A cauldron of black tar sits over a fire. The tar is bubbling sluggishly. Bloop. Bloop. It is thick, viscous, blacker than the deepest night. A worker dips a brush. A bundle of stiff bristles on a stick into the tar. He pulls it out. The tar trails in a long, sticky thread. It does not want to let go. He carries it to the hull of the boat. He slaps the brush against the wood. Slap. He drags it. Schluuck. The sound is wet and sticky. The tar fills the cracks between the planks. It seals the wood. He spreads it. Spread, spread. The heat of the sun keeps the tar soft, but it also makes the work stifling. The worker is bathed in the fumes. He works slowly. If he rushes, the hot tar will splatter. He must be deliberate. Dip, trail, slap, spread, dip, trail, slap, spread. The black stripe on the hull grows longer. It eats up the wood grain. It creates a waterproof skin. The worker pauses to wipe his eyes. His hands are stained black. He looks like a shadow moving against the wood. The river flows by, indifferent. The tar bubbles. The sun burns. There is a hypnotic quality to the blackness of the tar. It swallows the light. It absorbs the world. We move inland, seeking the illusion of cool. We enter a large warehouse, a horium. The walls are thick brick designed to keep the grain cool. It is darker inside, but the air is still and stifling. It is a trapped heat. Huge sacks of wheat are stacked to the ceiling. But we are looking at the mensa ponderaria, the weighing table. An official sits there. He is checking the weight of the sacks as they are brought in. He uses a large bronze balance scale. It hangs from a beam. 2 porters bring a sack. They heave it onto the hook, grunt, rustle, clank. The scale dips violently, the beam swings, the official places bronze weights on the other side. He picks up a weight, a sphere of metal, he places it, clink. The scale swings back, but not enough. He adds a smaller weight, clink. He waits for the beam to stop swinging. He watches the pointer, it wavers left, right, right. He waits, patience is his tool, the pointer settles, it is centered, he nods. He makes a mark on a wax tablet, scritch. Next, he whispers. The porters remove the sack. The scale bounces up, empty and light. Jingle, they bring the next sack, grunt, rustle, clank, the scale dips. The weights are added, the weighting returns. It is a ceremony of equilibrium, balancing the harvest against the standard. The official's face is bored, expressionless. He has weighed 1,000,000 sacks. He will weigh 1,000,000 more. The sound of the scale chains clinking is delicate like wind chimes in a tomb. Ching, ching, silence. Let us go deeper into the city to a place of fire, a glassblower's workshop. If the street is hot, this room is an inferno. The furnace roars in the center. The glassblower sits on a bench. He holds a long iron blowpipe. At the end of the pipe is a glob of molten glass. It glows orange red, like a piece of the sun brought down to earth. He rolls the pipe on the arms of his chair. Roll, roll, roll. The iron pipe makes a rasping sound against the wood. Ar-rar-rar-rar, ar-rar-rar-rar, ar-rar-rar-rar. He keeps the glass moving so it doesn't sag, centrifugal force. He brings the pipe to his lips. He blows gently, a tiny puff. Pfff. The orange glob expands slightly. It becomes a bubble. He stops. He rolls it again. Ar-rar-rar-rar, ar-rar-rar-rar. He takes a pair of wet wooden tongs. He touches the hot glass. Hiss. Steam rises instantly. He squeezes the glass, shaping the neck of a bottle. The glass yields. It is soft like honey. He is focused entirely on the spinning orange light. The sweat pours off him, but he does not feel it. He is in the zone of the fire. He spins, he shapes, he blows. The bottle takes form, from a shapeless lump to a delicate vessel. Finally, he cracks it off the pipe. Tink. A helper takes it with tongs and places it in the annealing oven to cool slowly. The glassblower takes a breath. He reaches for a jug of water. He drinks deep. Gulp, gulp, gulp. He wipes his mouth. He picks up the pipe. He goes back to the furnace. The fire never stops. The heat never breaks. The rhythm continues. Outside, in a shaded courtyard of a tenement building, a group of women are grinding grain. They are using hand querns, 2 round stones, one on top of the other. They sit on the ground, legs spread. The quern is between their knees. They hold the wooden handle of the top stone. They rotate it. Grind, grind, grind. It is a circular motion, round and round. The stone rumbles against the stone. It is a low, guttural sound, the voice of the mill. They pour a handful of grain into the center hole. Rattle, they turn. Flour spills out the sides, white, soft, powdery. The women are singing a low song. It matches the rhythm of the stone. Turn the mill, turn. Sun is high, sun. It is not a performance. It is a chant to keep the tempo, to keep the arms moving when they want to stop. The air is filled with flour dust. It catches in their eyelashes. It whitens their hair. Round and round. The motion is hypnotic. It mimics the rotation of the earth, the rotation of the seasons. There is no beginning and no end to the circle. In the alleyway behind the tenement, a dog is panting. It lies in the narrow strip of shade provided by a balcony. Its tongue hangs out, pink and wet. Ha 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 ha. Quick, shallow breaths. It closes its eyes. It is too hot to hunt for scraps, too hot to bark at strangers. It just exists, trying to expel the heat from its body. A fly lands on its ear. The ear twitches. Flick. The fly buzzes away. Bzzz. The dog sighs. We drift up to the rooftops again. The tiles are baking. You could cook an egg on them. We see a laundry line strung between 2 buildings. White tunics hang there motionless. There is no wind. The tunics hang heavy and limp. They are drying instantly in the fierce heat. They look like surrender flags, surrendering to the sun. Far below in the forum, the activity has slowed but not stopped. A lawyer is walking towards the courts. He walks slowly, staying in the sliver of shade cast by the basilica. He holds a scroll to his forehead to block the glare. He stops at a public fountain. He dips his hands in. He splashes water on his face. Splash. He gasps. The shock of the cool water. He lets it drip off his chin. He does not dry it. He lets the evaporation cool him. He straightens his toga. He moves on. Step. Step, step. The sound of the cicadas has begun. It rises from the gardens and the parks on the hills. Z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z. It is a wall of sound, high-pitched, constant, vibrating. It is the soundtrack of the Mediterranean summer. It does not change pitch. It does not pause. It is just a sonic blanket that covers everything. If you listen to it long enough, it stops being a sound and becomes a texture, a vibration in the air. Z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z-z. It masks the smaller sounds. It fills the silence. It pushes out thoughts. It tells you it is hot. It is noon. Sleep. But the workers cannot sleep. Not yet. We see a slave carrying a block of ice packed in straw. He is rushing, as much as one can rush in this heat, towards a wealthy house. The ice has been brought from the mountains, stored in deep underground pits. It is melting. Water drips from the bottom of the burlap sack. Drip, 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 drip. He leaves a trail of dark spots on the white pavement. The spots evaporate almost instantly behind him, disappearing footprints. His burden gets lighter with every step, but the urgency remains. He enters the service door. The cool treat will be served to his master. He will go back to the heat. Finally, let us look at a sundial standing in a garden. The solarium. The gnomon, the triangular metal blade, casts a shadow. The shadow is short. It points almost due north. It falls across the line marked VI. The 6th hour, midday. The shadow does not seem to move. But if you watch it for 10 minutes, it will have crept imperceptibly across the stone. Time is stealing the day away. The marble of the sundial is bright white. The shadow is sharp black. There is no gray here, only the absolute truth of the sun. The garden is still. The leaves of the laurel bush are drooping. The flowers have closed their petals to conserve moisture. Everything is waiting, waiting for the sun to begin its descent, waiting for the reprieve of the afternoon. But for now, the sun is king. The wait is total, and the work continues under the gaze of the burning eye. The hammer falls, whump, the brush slides, shluwuk, the scale clinks, ching, the cicada sings, z-z-z-z-z-z-z. You are safe in the shade. You are cool. You can feel the heat, but it does not burn you. It only makes your eyelids heavy, so heavy. The brightness fades as you close your eyes. The sound of the cicadas becomes a lullaby. The sun has begun its long, slow descent. It has held the sky captive for hours, and now it yields inch by inch. The light is no longer the blinding white of noon. It has softened just a fraction, turning a pale, dusty gold. The city of Rome exhales. This is the time of the meridiatio for the wealthy, the midday rest. The streets in the residential districts are quieter. The shutters are drawn tight to keep the coolness in. But for the workers, the slaves, and the shopkeepers, there is no rest. There is only the shift in rhythm. The frantic energy of the morning market is over. Now begins the endurance of the afternoon. We drift into a dusty side street known for its potters. The air here is dry and smells of baked earth and wet clay. A potter sits at his wheel. It is a heavy disc of stone balanced on a spindle. He kicks the lower wheel with his foot. Kick. The heavy stone begins to spin. Whir. It is a low, rumbling sound that vibrates through the floor. He throws a lump of gray clay onto the center of the wheel. Thwack. The clay wobbles, then centers as he presses his wet hands against it. He wets his hands in a bowl of muddy water. Splash. He leans forward. He presses his thumbs into the center of the spinning clay. Watch the walls of the pot rise. It happens like magic, but slow magic. The clay climbs up his fingers. Spin, spin, spin. He is making an amphora, a storage jar. It must be thick. It must be strong. He pulls the clay up. He pushes the clay down. He is having a silent conversation with the earth. The wheel slows down. Whir, wub, wub. He kicks it again. Kick. The energy returns. The spinning resumes. His foot moving, his hand steady. A separation of the body's tasks. There is a splash of gray clay on his cheek. He does not wipe it. It dries there, cracking as his face moves. Rows of finished pots sit on shelves behind him, waiting for the kiln. They are dark gray, damp, and cool. They sit in perfect silence, a regiment of jars. The potter cuts the finished pot from the wheel with a piece of wire. Slice. He lifts it gently. He places it on a board. He takes a breath. He reaches for the next lump of clay. Thwack. It is the repetition that defines the afternoon. The sense that there is always more to do, but there is no anger in it, just acceptance. The clay is there. The wheel is there. The hands are there. We leave the potter and float towards a large public building. We are entering the scriptorium of a bookseller. Here, 20 scribes sit at tilted desks. They are copying a scroll, a famous speech by Cicero perhaps, or a book of history. A reader stands at the front of the room. He reads the text aloud, slowly, clearly. Gallia est omnes divisa. The scribes write in unison. 20 reed pens dip into 20 inkwells. Dip. 20 pens touch the papyrus. Scratch. Gallia, scratch, scratch, scratch. Est, scratch, scratch. The sound is like the scurrying of insects in dry leaves. A continuous, dry rustling. The air smells of ink, a mixture of soot, gum, and water, and the vinegar used to keep the ink fresh. Dust motes dance in the shafts of light coming from the high windows. The scribes do not look up. They do not look at each other. They are human photocopiers. Their backs ache. Their fingers are stained black, but the rhythm sustains them. Listen to the reader. His voice is a monotone drone. He is bored too. In. Part tres, scratch, scratch, scratch. If a scribe makes a mistake, he uses a sponge to wipe the ink away before it dries. Rub, rub, he blows on the wet spot. Woo, he waits. He dips. He writes again. The words flow from the air, through the ear, down the arm, onto the page. It is a loop of information. The room is filled with knowledge, but no one is learning. They are just copying. Outside, the heat has baked the streets dry. The dust is a problem. A public slave in Aquarius is walking down the main avenue. He carries a large leather hose connected to a water pipe, or perhaps just a bucket and a ladle. He splashes water onto the cobblestones. Splosh. The water hits the hot stone. It darkens instantly. Hiss. A faint smell of rain on hot asphalt rises. Petrichor. He walks slowly. Splash to the left, splash to the right. He is laying the dust. He is cooling the air. The water evaporates quickly, leaving dry patches that grow from the edges. He watches the dry patch shrink. He splashes it again. Splosh. It is a task of Sisyphus. The sun dries the street as fast as he wets it, but he continues. It is his job. The sound of the water hitting the stone is heavy and wet. It breaks the dry monotony of the heat. A dog follows him, licking the wet stones. Lap, lap, lap. The slave ignores the dog. He ignores the senators walking past. He looks only at the dust. We move to the shade of a colonnade surrounding a temple. Here, old men sit on stone benches. They are playing a board game, Ludus Latrunculorum, the game of mercenaries. It is a strategy game like chess or checkers. They move glass counters on a grid scratched into the marble. One old man thinks. His hand hovers over a blue counter. He hesitates. His hand trembles slightly. He moves the piece forward one square. Click. His opponent, a man with a bald head and a white beard, stares at the board. He hums a low, tuneless note. MMMMMM. He rubs his chin. The sound of skin on stubble is raspy, scritch. He does not move, he waits. The first man sighs. He leans back against the column. He closes his eyes. There is no clock. There is no rush. The game will end when it ends. The pigeons coo in the rafters above. Coo, coo-roo. Feathers drift down. The game continues in geological time. Finally, the second man moves. Click. Silence returns. Let us go to a place of heavy industry hidden behind high walls. An olive press, a trap at him. The harvest has come in from the farms. The olives are piled in great mounds. Small, black, wrinkled fruit. In the center of the room is the press. Two massive hemispherical stones set in a mortar bowl. A donkey is harnessed to the beam. The donkey walks. Clop, clop, clop. The stones roll, rumble, crunch. The sound of the olives being crushed is distinct. A wet, squelching crunch, squish, crack, squish. The oil and the pulp ooze out from under the stones. The smell is thick, green, and grassy. It is a heavy, oily scent that coats the back of the throat. The oil runs down a channel into a settling vat. Drip, drip, stream. It is a golden green river. The workers here are covered in oil. Their skin shines in the dim light. Their tunics are stained dark. They use wooden shovels to push the olives under the stones. Shovel, push, shovel, push. They work in a trance. The donkey walks in a circle. The stones roll in a circle. The oil flows in a line. It is a scene of oily, heavy gravity. The air is warm and humid from the friction of the stones. If you were here, you would feel sleepy immediately. The fumes of the olives are intoxicating in a mild, culinary way. The shadows are noticeably longer now. They are no longer hiding under the objects. They are stretching out, reaching for the next building. We float to a textile workshop. A weaver stands at a vertical loom. It is a large wooden frame taller than a man. The warp threads hang down, weighted with clay loom weights. Clink, clank. The weights hit each other gently as he works. He holds the shuttle, the boat-shaped wood carrying the weft thread. He passes it through the warp, slide. He pulls the beater bar towards him to pack the thread tight. Thump. He pushes the bar back. Thump. Slide, thump, slide, thump. It is the heartbeat of the room. He is weaving a tunic, white wool. He watches the fabric grow downward inch by inch. He does not look at the whole cloth. He looks at the single thread he is placing. His arms move in a rhythm that he learned as a child. Left to right, right to left. Pack, release, pack, release. The dust in this room is fibrous. Tiny white hairs of wool float in the air. They catch the afternoon light looking like a stationary snowstorm. The weaver sneezes, chew. He wipes his nose. He does not stop weaving. The rhythm is too important. If he stops, he loses the tension. Slide, thump. Outside in a quiet piazza, a mosaic floor is being cleaned. It is finished, but it needs to be washed. A young girl is on her knees. She has a bucket of water and a sponge. She squeezes the sponge, sploosh. She wipes the face of a stone tiger. The colors pop. Dull gray turns to vibrant orange and black. She wipes the border, a pattern of ivy leaves. Swish, swish. The water dries quickly behind her, turning the stones dull again. She is chasing the color. Wipe, bright, dry, dull, wipe, bright, dry, dull. She is playing a game with the sun. She wants the floor to stay wet, to stay beautiful. But the sun wins. The water evaporates. She sighs. She dips the sponge again. The persistence of the human spirit against the drying power of the air. We move to the back of a restaurant, a thermopolium. The lunch rush is over. Now comes the washing up. A large stone basin is filled with dirty bowls and spoons. The water is greasy, covered in a film of oil and food scraps. A dishwasher stands there. He is an old man with stooped shoulders. He picks up a bowl. He scours it with sand and straw, scritch-scratch. He rinses it. He stacks it. The pile of dirty bowls is high. The pile of clean bowls is low. He does not look at the pile. He looks at the bowl in his hand. This bowl held lentils, scrub. This bowl held pork, scrub. This bowl held wine, rinse. He is erasing the history of the meal. The kitchen is hot. The fire is still banking in the stove. The air smells of wood smoke and stale garlic. A cat rubs against his legs. He nudges it away gently with his foot. He is in a pocket of time where nothing happens but cleaning. Clink. A bowl hits the stack. Clink, another one. The sun is angling through the smoke hole in the roof. The beam of light is turning orange. The harsh white of midday is softening into the warm amber of the late afternoon. The texture of the stone walls is becoming more visible. The shadows are deepening, revealing the cracks and the rough mortar. We drift to a garden in a private house. It is the time of watering. A gardener, a topirius, is tending to the hedges. He has a pair of iron shears. He is trimming a boxwood hedge into the shape of a dolphin. Snip. A tiny twig falls. Snip. Another twig. He steps back. He squints. He tilts his head. He steps forward. Snip. He is moving with extreme slowness. He is sculpting a plant. The sound of the shears is crisp. Snip, snap. The smell of the cut boxwood is sharp and green. It is the smell of order. He picks up the fallen twigs one by one. He places them in a basket. He does not want to leave a mess. The garden is silent except for the shears and the buzzing of a bee. The water in the fountain burbles. Gurgle. Splash. The gardener wipes his brow. He looks at the dolphin. It looks back, green and leafy. He is satisfied. He moves to the next bush, a bear. He begins again. Snip. The world is slowing down. The intense pressure to produce is fading. The day is turning towards maintenance, towards finishing, towards the evening. You can feel the collective heart rate of the city dropping. The heavy carts are parked. The donkeys are eating. The potters are finishing their last jars. The weavers are tying off their threads. The afternoon stretch is a long, flat road. It is boring. It is predictable, but it is safe. The sun is no longer an enemy. It is just a companion walking beside you towards the west. The shadows are your friends, offering cool places to stand. The dust is just dust. Imagine yourself sitting on that stone bench next to the old men playing the game. You watch the glass counter move. Click. You watch the dust motes. You listen to the fountain. Your breathing slows. In, out, in, out. The 7th hour drifts into the 8th. Nothing changes. Everything is as it should be. The light has thickened. That is the only way to describe it. It is no longer air. It is a substance. A golden fluid that fills the streets, sticking to the walls, the skin, the ground. It is the golden hour, but stretched out, lingering. The heat has lost its stinging bite, settling instead into a warm, heavy embrace. The city is tired. You can feel the fatigue in the very stones. The frantic energy of the morning market is a distant memory. The endurance of the high noon has passed. Now it is the slow trudge towards the evening. The work continues, but the pace has dropped. Gravity seems stronger now. Limbs feel heavier. Eyelids feel heavier. We float into the portico of a large public bathhouse, the Thermae. We are not going into the hot pools where the citizens relax. We are staying in the changing room, the apoditerium. Here sits a capsarius, a clothes watcher. He is a young slave sitting on a low stool in the corner. His job is to watch the niches in the wall where the bathers have left their tunics and sandals. He does nothing else. He sits. He watches. The room is humid. Steam drifts in from the caldarium next door. It curls along the ceiling, misting the frescoes of sea nymphs. The capsarius wipes a bead of sweat from his upper lip. He looks at the rows of tunics. White wool, gray wool, brown wool, a pair of sandals with a broken strap, a belt with a bronze buckle. He counts the sandals to pass the time. 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs. He loses count. He starts again. 1, 2, 3. The room echoes with the distant sounds of splashing and low conversation, but in here it is quiet. Just the sound of dripping water from wet feet on the mosaic floor. Pat, pat, pat. He leans his head back against the plaster wall. The wall is cool. He closes his eyes for a second just to rest them. He snaps them open. He checks the tunics, still there. Nothing has moved. Nothing has changed. He sighs. A long, bored exhale through his nose. He shifts his weight on the hard wooden stool. The wood creaks, creak. He waits. Outside in a narrow workshop street, a leather worker, a Corioreus, is finishing a belt. The smell here is strong tannin, oak bark, and cured hide. It is an earthy, pungent smell. He sits at a bench. A strip of cowhide lies before him. It is stiff and thick. He holds a burnishing tool made of bone, smooth and yellow. He rubs the edge of the leather. Rub, rub, rub. He is sealing the fibers, making the edge smooth and shiny. He presses down hard. Friction creates heat. The leather darkens, scritch rub, scritch rub. He works his way down the belt, inch by inch. He stops to dip the bone tool in a pot of wax. Dip. He goes back to the leather. Rub, rub, rub. It is a hypnotic motion, back and forth. He is not creating a masterpiece. He is just making a belt. It will hold up a tunic. It will be worn every day. It will go unnoticed, but he notices. He feels the smoothness under his thumb. He checks the light coming through the door. The sun is hitting the dust on the floor. The beam is angled, cutting across his workbench. He knows the time by the angle, 2 more belts before sunset. He picks up the next strip. He begins again. Rub, rub, rub. We drift down the street to Epistronum, the bakery we saw earlier. But now the baking is done. The bread is sold. Now is the time of the cleaning. The floor is covered in flour dust, a fine white snow. An apprentice is sweeping, but he is moving very slowly. He is tired. He pushes the broom. Swish. A cloud of white dust rises, swirls in the golden light, and settles again. Swish. He stops. He leans on the broom handle. He watches the dust motes dancing. They sparkle in the sunbeam like tiny stars. He is mesmerized. He takes a deep breath. The air tastes of toasted wheat. He pushes the broom again. Swish. The pile of gray-white dust grows. He moves it towards the door. Step, push. Step, push. It is a silent dance with the remnants of the day's labor. Further along, we find a public scribe sitting under an awning. He is writing a letter for an illiterate farmer. The farmer stands awkwardly, twisting his hat in his hands. He dictates slowly. Tell him the harvest was good. The scribe dips his pen. Dip, he writes, scratch, scratch. Messis, bona, fuit. Tell him the pig is sick. The scribe writes, scratch, scratch, porcus, egrotat. Tell him I hope he is well. The scribe does not need to wait for this one. He writes the standard abbreviation. SVBEQV, si vales, bene est, ego valio, if you are well, that is good, I am well. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The scribe sands the ink to dry it. He pours fine sand from a shaker. SHHH. He waits. He blows the sand off. Woo, the grains of sand scatter across the table. He rolls the papyrus. Roll, roll, he ties it with a string. Done, he says. The farmer pays a coin. Clink. The scribe puts the coin in a pouch. He leans back. He stares at the street. He waits for the next story, the next pig, the next harvest. It is all the same to him, words on paper. We leave the city walls now, drifting out into the Pomerium, the sacred boundary, and beyond into the vineyards that cling to the slopes of the hills. The vines are heavy with grapes, purple and green orbs dusted with a white bloom. A worker is moving through the rows. He is checking the leaves. He turns a leaf over. Rustle. Nothing. He moves to the next. Rustle. He is looking for pests, for rot. He walks slowly. The ground is uneven, dry earth and stones. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The cicadas are louder here. The sound surrounds him. Zzz. He does not hear it anymore. It is just the sound of the air. The sun is warm on his back, a gentle, baking heat. He reaches the end of a row. He stops. He wipes his forehead with his arm. He looks out over the valley. The aqueduct stretches across the landscape, a line of stone arches marching towards the city. It carries water. He carries the responsibility of the vines. He turns. He starts the next row. Rustle, step, rustle, step. The repetition of nature, the slow growth of the fruit. You cannot rush a grape. You can only watch it. Back in the city, the shadows have claimed the ground floor of the buildings. Only the upper stories are still in the sun. We are in a workshop where mosaics are cut. Not the laying of the floor, but the cutting of the stone. A man sits on the ground with a hammer and a chisel set in a log. He holds a stick of marble. He strikes it. Tink. A small cube flies off. A tessera. He strikes again. Tink. Another cube. Tink, tink, tink. The pile of cubes grows, a little mountain of stone. The rhythm is fast, but the work is endless. He needs 10,000 cubes for one floor. He has 300. Tink, tink. He stops to stretch his hand. He flexes his fingers. They are stiff. He picks up the hammer. Tink. The sound is sharp, high-pitched. It cuts through the dull roar of the afternoon traffic. It is the sound of time being chopped into seconds. Each tink is a second gone. Each tink is a piece of the world made smaller. We drift to the riverbank again. The Tiber flows, heavy and brown. The sun is reflecting off it at a low angle now, turning the water into a sheet of beaten copper. A barge is moving upstream, pulled by men on the bank, the Helskeri. They have ropes slung across their chests. They lean forward at a sharp angle, almost falling. They trudge along the towpath. Step, drag, step, drag. The rope is tight. It hums with tension. The barge moves slowly, so slowly. If you blink, it looks stationary. The men do not sing. They do not talk. They just pull. Their breathing is heavy. Hua, hua. Their feet slip slightly in the dust. Scuff. They are fighting the river. The river never gets tired. The men do, but they keep walking. Step, drag, step, drag. The only goal is the next marker stone. Then the next. It is a pure expression of force against resistance. The barge glides silently behind them, a heavy wooden shadow on the copper water. In a quiet square, a fountain is trickling. The pressure has dropped slightly as the evening demand begins. The water falls gently. Drip, splash, drip. A pigeon lands on the rim. It bobs its head. It drinks. It fluffs its feathers. Ruffle. It tucks its head under its wing. It is taking a nap. The city is full of these small moments of rest amidst the work. The pigeon sleeping, the dog panting, the scribe staring. We move to a Phalonica laundry drying roof. The sheets that were wet are now dry. They are stiff, warm, and smell of sulfur and sun. Two women are folding a large linen sheet. They stand far apart, holding the corners. They walk towards each other, step, step. They bring the corners together, snap, the fabric meets, they walk back. They pull it tight, they walk forward again. Step, step, snap. It is a dance of folding, fold in half, fold in quarters, fold in eighths. The huge sheet becomes a small, neat square. They pat it down, pat, pat. They place it on a stack. They pick up the next one, shake it out. Whap, walk, fold, snap. They work in harmony. They do not need to speak. Their bodies know the distance. Their hands know the tension. The sun catches the dust flying off the linen. A golden haze around them. It is peaceful. The end of the process. The chaos of the wash is over. Now there is only the order of the fold. Let us go into a house, into the kitchen. The evening meal preparation is beginning. A slave is chopping herbs, parsley, cilantro, mint. He uses a curved knife, a mezzaluna. He rocks it back and forth on the wooden board. Rock chop, rock chop, rock chop. The sound is soft, muffled by the herbs. The smell is fresh and green. It fills the small room. He scrapes the herbs into a pile, scrape. He chops again, finer, rock chop, rock chop. He is focused on the green pile. The world outside does not exist. There is only the knife, the wood, and the herbs. His rhythm is steady, like a metronome. The afternoon light coming through the small window is turning orange. It lights up his hands, making them look like they are carved from wood. Outside the kitchen in the alley, a beggar is settling in for the evening. He has found a spot where the wall is still warm from the sun, but the shade has fallen. He spreads a piece of old sacking. He sits. He leans back. He watches the feet of the people passing by at the end of the alley. Sandals, bare feet, boots. Left, right, left, right. He counts them. He is not waiting for anything. He is just witnessing the flow. He is the still point in the turning world. The sound of a heavy door closing echoes down the street. Boom. Someone has finished for the day, but not everyone. The water carrier is still walking. The baker is sweeping. The mosaic cutter is striking. Tink. The day is winding down, but the coil is still tight. It unwinds slowly, rotation by rotation, second by second. We float up above the rooftops. The terracotta tiles are glowing deep red in the late light. Chimneys are starting to smoke, thin gray lines rising straight up into the still air. The smell of wood smoke begins to mix with the dust. It is the scent of home, the scent of rest coming soon, but not yet. Now look at the shadow of the great obelisk in the Circus Maximus. It stretches across the sand of the track, long and thin. It touches the other side. It is a giant finger pointing to the east, pointing to the night. The shadow moves. You cannot see it move, but you know it is moving. It is the clock of the world. Everything is heavy. The gold light is heavy, the air is heavy, the eyelids are heavy. The repetition of the work has created a trance. Rock, chop, tink, rub, rub, swish. Let these sounds wash over you. They are the heartbeat of a calm, boring, eternal afternoon. There is no crisis. There is no deadline. There is only the next chop, the next stone, the next fold, and then, eventually, the sunset. The 9th hour has arrived. In the official rhythm of Rome, this is the hour when the day tilts towards the personal. The business of the forum winds down. The courts close. The heavy work of the fields begins to ease. It is the hour of the bath. But do not think of splashing or play. Think of the ritual, the slow, methodical cleansing of the body that defines Roman life. We float into the vast, echoing halls of the baths of Trajan or perhaps Agrippa. It does not matter which. The stone is the same, the water is the same. The air here is thick, distinct from the dry heat of the street. It is heavy with humidity, smelling of wood smoke from the furnaces below, of perfumed oils, of sweat, and of wet stone. We enter the tepidarium, the warm room. It is a transition space. The walls are marble, radiating a gentle, stored heat. A man sits on a stone bench. He is covered in a sheen of olive oil. A slave stands behind him holding a strigil, a curved metal tool made of bronze. It is time for the scraping. The slave presses the curved blade against the man's shoulder. He pulls it down the back. Scrap. The sound is dull and wet. The metal collects the oil, the dust, the sweat of the day. He flicks the gunk onto the floor. Splat. He places the blade again. Scrap. The motion is rhythmic, almost surgical. Long, firm strokes down the spine. Scrap. Across the shoulder blade. Scrap. The man on the bench closes his eyes. He leans forward slightly to expose more of his back. He says nothing. The slave says nothing. There is only the friction of bronze on skin, the removal of the day's layer. The slave moves to the arm. He holds the wrist. He scrapes from the elbow to the shoulder. Scrape, flick, scrape, flick. The rhythm is hypnotic, like a gardener raking leaves, but the leaves are the invisible weight of the city. The floor around the bench becomes slick. A worker will come later to wash it away. But for now, the pile of oil and dust grows. In the corner of the room, another man is applying oil to himself. He pours a small amount from a glass flask into his palm. Glug, glug. The oil is gold green in the amber light. He rubs his hands together. Slap, rub. He begins to massage his own leg. He works the oil into the calf muscle. Rub, knead, rub. His hands move in circles. He is checking for knots. He is soothing the fatigue of walking on cobblestones. The light coming through the high lunette windows is hazy with steam. It catches the droplets of water in the air, turning them into floating jewels. The room sounds like a cavern. Voices are muffled, echoing, unintelligible. A low hum of humanity. MMMMMM. Splash. MMMMMM. We drift out of the warm room into the caldarium, the hot room. Here, the heat is physical. It presses against your chest. The floor is hot. The bathers wear wooden sandals, clogs, to protect their feet. Clack, clack, clack. The sound of the wood on the hollow floor, for the heat runs beneath it, is distinctive. A sharp, resonant tap. A man lowers himself into the hot pool. He steps in. 1 foot. He pauses. It is hot. He breathes out, hoo-oh. He lowers the other foot. He sinks down slowly. The water rises up his legs, his waist, his chest. He sits on the underwater step. The water ripples out from him, hitting the marble edge. Lap, lap, lap. He stays there, motionless. His head is thrown back against the rim. He stares at the vaulted ceiling. Condensation drips from the ceiling. Drip. It lands in the pool. Plip. Another drop. Drip. Plip. He is cooking the tiredness out of his bones. He is becoming soft. The rigid armor of the working day is melting away. You can feel the heaviness of his limbs. If he tried to lift his arm now, it would weigh 1,000 pounds. So he doesn't. He just floats, supported by the water, enclosed by the steam. Outside the bath, the streets are filled with the bath traffic. Vendors selling snacks to the hungry bathers. A sausage seller has a portable brazier. The coals are glowing red in the dimming light. He turns a sausage with tongs. Sizzle. Fat drips onto the coals. Hiss. Smoke rises, smelling of pork and fennel. He waves a fan to keep the flies away. Swish. Swish. He doesn't shout. He doesn't need to. The smell is his voice. A customer approaches. Clean, red-faced from the heat, damp hair plastered to his forehead. He points to a sausage. The vendor picks it up. He places it on a piece of flatbread. He hands it over. The customer takes a bite. Crunch. Chew. He eats slowly, savoring the salt. He leans against a wall. He watches the people coming out of the great doors. It is a moment of pure, simple satisfaction. Clean body, full stomach, cooling air. We move down the street to a shop that is preparing to close. A lamp oil merchant. The shop is filled with large terracotta amphorae. The air smells of olives, rancid fat, and clay. Customers are coming in to fill their household lamps for the coming night. The merchant holds a ladle. He dips it into a large jar. Dip. The oil is thick, viscous. It pours slowly. He brings the ladle to the customer's small jar. He tilts it. Glug. Glug, glug. The stream of oil is smooth, unbroken. It looks like liquid amber. It fills the jar. It rises to the neck. He stops exactly at the rim, a master of volume. He pours for the next customer. Dip, glug, glug. There is no conversation, just the exchange of coins and the transfer of fuel. The light is fading outside, making the oil look darker, more essential. This liquid is the only thing that will hold back the night. The customers clutch their jars tightly. They walk away carefully, trying not to spill a drop. Step, steady, step, steady. Let us go to the tabularium, the record office overlooking the forum. The scribes are finishing. The light is too dim for fine writing now. A scribe is rolling up a long scroll. He holds the wooden dowel at the end. He twists his wrist. Roll. The papyrus curls over itself. Roll, roll, roll. The sound is a dry whisper. S-H-H-H-S-H-H-H. It takes a long time to roll a day's work. He reaches the end. He ties it with a red string. He places it in a cylindrical bucket, a capsa. Thump. A soft sound of leather on leather. He cleans his pen. He wipes the ink nib on a cloth. The cloth is stained black with 1,000 words. He caps his inkwell, twist. He stands up. He stretches. His back cracks, pop. He walks to the window and looks out over the forum. The white stones of the square are turning blue in the shadow. The columns cast long, distorted shapes across the pavement. The crowd has thinned. The shouting has stopped. It is the time of the echo. Footsteps sound louder now. Clack, clack, clack. A lone figure walking across the vast, empty space. We drift up the Palatine Hill towards the gardens of the wealthy. The wind has picked up slightly. It rustles the leaves of the cypress trees. Whoosh, shhh. The cypresses are tall, dark flames against the orange sky. They sway gently, top heavy, sway left, sway right. It is a mournful, soothing sound. The trees watching the city. In a garden, a peacock walks across the grass. It places one foot. It bobs its head. It drags its magnificent tail behind it. Rustle. The feathers brush against the dry grass. It stops. It looks at a beetle. It pecks. Tap. It misses. It waits. It walks on. The colors of its neck, electric blue, emerald green, are darkening as the sun sinks. Soon it will just be a silhouette. We move to the kitchen of a modest apartment. The preparation for Cena, the main meal, is underway, but it is a slow preparation. An old woman is grinding spices in a stone mortar. Pepper, cumin, coriander. She holds the pestle. She presses down and twists. Grind, crunch, grind, crunch. The seeds break open. The scent releases. Spicy, dry, exotic. She works in a circle, around, around. She is not looking at the bowl. She is looking at the lamp she has just lit. The flame is small, struggling against the twilight. She grinds to the rhythm of her own breathing. In, grind, out, crunch. The powder gets finer. The sound gets softer, from a crunch to a hush. Shhh, shhh. On the table, a young girl is setting out bowls. Cheap red Samian ware. She places a bowl, click. She places a spoon, clink. She places a cup, thud. She moves around the table, bowl, spoon, cup, bowl, spoon, cup. She aligns them perfectly. She turns the cup so the handle faces right. It is a small act of domestic order. The room is quiet. The fire in the hearth is burning low, just embers now, waiting to be fed. We float back out to the street. The transition to evening is almost complete. The golden hour is fading into the blue hour. The amber light is withdrawing to the very tops of the buildings, leaving the street level in a cool, gray twilight. The temperature is dropping comfortably. People are walking slower. They are walking home. The urgency of the day is gone. The destination is certain. A man walks past carrying a basket of figs. The figs are ripe, purple, bursting. The smell of sweet fruit trails behind him. He walks heavily. His sandals scuff the stones. Scuff, scuff. He is thinking of sitting down. He is thinking of taking off his sandals. You can feel his anticipation of rest. It is a tangible thing. We see a gatekeeper, an Oshirius, sitting at the entrance of a building. He has a dog on a chain. The dog is asleep. The man is half asleep. He holds a staff. His chin rests on his chest. He jerks awake. He looks left. He looks right. Nothing. He settles back. His eyelids droop. Down, up, down, closed. The city is full of these heavy eyelids. The weight of the day, the gravity of the work, is pulling everyone down towards the earth, towards the bed, towards sleep. In the distance, the aqueduct still flows. It never sleeps. We can hear it if we listen closely. A low, constant vibration of water rushing through stone channels high above the ground. It is the white noise of the empire. Rush. It is bringing water for tomorrow's baths, tomorrow's thirst, tomorrow's dust. But that is for tomorrow. Right now, there is only the fading light, the orange turning to violet, the sharp lines becoming soft blur, the noise becoming a murmur. Watch the shadow of a column move up a wall. It climbs slowly. It swallows a window. It swallows a balcony. It reaches the roof. It disappears into the sky. The sun has set on the street, though it still shines on the hills. The day is closing like a heavy book, page by page, street by street, sound by sound. You are safe in the twilight. You are washed, fed, and tired. The strigil has scraped away the worry. The oil has soothed the skin. The water has carried the weight. Now we just wait for the stars. We wait in the beautiful, boring gray, listening to the last footsteps of the day. Click-clack, click-clack, silence. The day is officially done. The sun, the great taskmaster, has withdrawn its gaze. Now the city turns inward. The vast, open spaces of the forum and the markets are abandoned to the shadows. Life retreats into the small, enclosed boxes of rooms and courtyards. This is the hour of the lamp, the lucerna. We drift into a small room. A hand holding a taper, a thin waxed cord moves towards a clay lamp sitting on a table. The lamp is simple, shaped like a teardrop. The flame touches the wick. FFFT, a tiny sound of ignition. The flame is blue at first, then yellow. It is small, fragile. It shivers in the draft. Then it catches the oil. It grows. It stabilizes. A sphere of warm, orange light pushes back the gray. Watch the shadow of the lamp. It stretches long across the wooden table. It flickers on the wall. Flicker. Still. Flicker. Still. The light does not illuminate the whole room. It only lights the table and the hands of the person sitting there. Everything else is darkness. The world has shrunk to this circle of light. We move to the dining table. It is time for cena. For most, this is not a banquet, it is a refueling. In a simple apartment, a man sits on a stool. He holds a wooden bowl. Inside is pools, a thick porridge made of emmer wheat, water, and a little salt. It is gray and lumpy. He holds a wooden spoon. He dips the spoon. Squish. The porridge is thick. It resists the spoon. He lifts it to his mouth. He eats. Slurp. Chew. Chew. Swallow. There is no conversation. He is too tired to talk. He stares at the flame of the lamp while he chews. Chew. Chew. Swallow. He scrapes the side of the bowl. Scrape. He gathers the last of the meal. Scrape. The sound of wood on wood is hollow and dry. It is the sound of survival. He eats not for pleasure, but because the machine needs fuel for tomorrow. He reaches for a cup, cheap pottery. He drinks water mixed with a little vinegar. Gulp. He sets the cup down. Thump. He wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. He leans back against the wall. The wall is rough plaster. He feels the texture against his tunic. He closes his eyes. His stomach is full. The blood leaves his brain to digest the food. A wave of heaviness washes over him. He is safe. He is fed. He is still. Now let us float to a wealthier house, a domus. Here the meal is taken in the triclinium, the dining room with 3 couches arranged in a U-shape. The family reclines. They do not sit, they lie on their left sides, propped up on cushions. The cushions are soft, stuffed with wool. They sink into them. The body relaxes completely. The spine uncurls. The legs stretch out. A slave brings a silver basin and a pitcher of water. He pours water over the master's hands. Trickle, splash. The water is perfumed with rose. The scent rises, sweet and floral, masking the smell of the lamp oil. The master rubs his hands together. Wash, wash. A towel is offered. Soft linen. He dries his hands. Pat, pat. The meal begins. It is served on a low central table. There are eggs, there are olives, there is bread. The master reaches out. He picks up an olive, he puts it in his mouth, he bites. Pop. He chews slowly around the pit. He removes the pit. He places it on the edge of the plate. Click. He picks up a piece of bread. He breaks it. Crackle. The crust is hard. The inside is soft. He dips it in a sauce of fish and herbs. Dip. He eats. The movement is slow, languid. There is no rush to finish. The evening stretches out before them. A slave pours wine into a mixing bowl, a crater. Glug, glug, glug. The wine is dark, almost black in the dim light. Then he pours water, splash. The Romans never drink wine straight, it is always mixed. Watch the liquids swirl together, the dark wine and the clear water. They spiral, they fold into each other, turning ruby red. The slave uses a ladle to stir it. Clink. Swirl, clink. The sound of the metal ladle hitting the ceramic bowl is clear and bell-like. He fills a cup. He hands it to the mistress. She takes it. Her bracelets jingle softly. Ching-ching, she takes a sip. She sets the cup down. She sighs. It is a sigh of release. The management of the household is over. The slaves have been fed. The doors are locked. Now there is only the wine and the cushion. The conversation is low, mumbled, the weather, the price of oil, the letter from the north. The words drift in the air like smoke. They don't really matter, it is just a way to pass the time. You do not need to listen to the words, just the tone, low, monotone, rumbling, like a distant storm that will never arrive. The shadows in the corners of the room are deep. They seem to breathe with the flickering of the lamps. The frescoes on the walls, painted gardens, birds, gods dance in the uncertain light. A painted bird seems to fly. A painted tree seems to sway. It is a trick of the light, a primitive cinema for the tired mind. We leave the dining room and go to the street outside. It is dark now, pitch black except for the occasional torch of a passing group. The shops are all boarded up. The wooden shutters are locked with iron bars. We drift past a row of shops. Closed, closed, closed. They look like blind faces. The street is silent except for the wind. The wind whistles through a crack in a wall. Woo-woo. It rattles a loose shutter. Clack, clack. Silence. Clack, clack. A stray dog trots down the center of the street. It stops at a pile of garbage. It sniffs. Sniff, sniff. It finds a bone. It lies down right there in the street. It gnaws on the bone. Crunch, scrape, crunch. The sound echoes off the stone walls. The dog is the king of the night street. There are no carts to run him over, no people to kick him. He takes his time. Gnaw, lick, gnaw. We move to the barracks of the vigils, the watchmen. The night shift is preparing to go out. They are putting on their gear. The sound of leather straps being tightened. Creak, pull. The sound of hobnailed sandals on stone. Crunch, crunch. The sound of axes being lifted. Clank. They stand in a line. The captain holds a torch. The flame illuminates their faces. Tired, serious, bored. They are not heroes. They are men working the graveyard shift. Move out, the captain mutters. They walk. Tramp, tramp, tramp. They disappear into the darkness, leaving only the smell of burning pitch behind. Back in the kitchen of the large house, the cleaning continues. The cook is scraping the grill. Scrape, scrape. The iron is cold now. The grease is hard. He works methodically. He wipes the table with a wet rag. Swish, swish. He wrings the rag out into a bucket. Squeeze, drip, drip, drip. The kitchen is cooling down. The residual heat from the oven is fading. The cook sits on a stool. He takes a piece of bread for himself. He eats it dry. He stares at the embers in the hearth. They are pulsing. Red, gray, they look like a breathing lung. He watches a spark fly up the chimney and vanish. He is the last one awake in the service wing. The house is settling. The beams groan as they cool. Kriak. We float up to the bedroom, the cubiculum. The room is tiny. A bed, a lamp, a small window. The master enters. He unpins his toga. The heavy wool falls to the floor with a soft whump. He stands in his tunic. He sits on the edge of the bed. The bed frame is wood strung with ropes. It creaks under his weight. He unlaces his sandals. He pulls the strap. He slips the sandal off. He drops it. Thud. He pulls the other one. Thud. His feet are bare on the cool floor. He wiggles his toes, free at last. He blows out the lamp. PFFFF. Darkness. Instant, total darkness. He lies back. The mattress is stuffed with straw or feathers. It rustles as he settles. Rustle, crinkle. He pulls a blanket up to his chin. He sighs. He stares up into the dark. He cannot see the ceiling. He can only feel the space around him. The silence of the bedroom is thick. It presses against the ears. You can hear his breathing start to slow down. In, out, in, out. The day is buried. The work is finished. There is nothing left to do but sleep. Outside, the city is a landscape of sleeping shapes. The temples are dark mounds. The statues are silhouettes against the stars. The river is a black ribbon of sound. Rush, rush, rush. We drift to the city gates. They are closed, barred with massive beams of oak. A guard sits in the gatehouse. He has a small fire in a brazier. He is whittling a piece of wood with a knife. Slice. A curl of wood falls into the fire. Slice. He is making nothing. He is just making the wood smaller. He watches the fire consume the shaving. It flares up bright for a second, then dies. Flare. Die. Flare. Die. He looks out the small window slot. Nothing moves on the road outside, just the moonlight on the dust. He is the guardian of the boredom. He leans his head back. He listens to the crickets. Chirp, 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 thousands of them, a pulsing field of sound. It is the heartbeat of the earth. You are floating above the gate. You look down at the guard. You look back at the sleeping city. You feel the peace of the closed door, the safety of the wall, the certainty that the sun is gone and will not return for many hours. The air is cold now. The stone is cold. The world is still. Let the darkness wrap around you like the wool blanket. Let the sound of the crickets fill your mind. There is no Roman Empire right now. There is only the night and the sleep. The city has stopped. It is not just paused, it has stopped. The heavy wooden doors are bolted. The shutters are sealed. The fires in the hearths have burned down to gray ash, holding only a faint, dying warmth at their core. We are in the deepest part of the well. This is the time when the silence becomes a physical weight. It presses down on the rooftops, fills the empty streets, and settles into the courtyards like a heavy fluid. If you were to shout now, your voice would sound small and terrified, swallowed instantly by the vast indifference of the stone. But no one shouts. There is no reason to shout. There is only the breathing of a million sleepers. We drift into a cubiculum bedroom in a large domus. It is pitch black. You cannot see your hand in front of your face, but you can hear. Listen to the room. The air is stagnant, smelling faintly of lavender from the linen chest and the carbon smell of the extinguished lamp. On the bed, a man is sleeping. He is deep in the cycle. Inhale, long, slow, rattling slightly in the throat. Pause, exhale, a soft whistle of air escaping through relaxed lips. Pause. The rhythm is incredibly slow, like the tide coming in and going out on a calm sea. Inhale, exhale, his body is heavy. The mattress, stuffed with wool, conforms to his shape. He has sunk into it. He is anchored to the bed by gravity and exhaustion. The blanket, a heavy weave of undyed wool, lies over him. It does not move except for the gentle rise and fall of his chest. Rise, fall, rise, fall. In the corner of the room, the wood of a cedar chest settles. Crack. It is a sharp sound, loud in the silence. The sleeper does not stir. He is far away. He is in a place where there are no taxes, no speeches, no noise. The silence rushes back in to fill the space left by the crack. It feels even deeper than before. We move out of the room, slipping through the crack under the door like a draft. We are in the atrium. The moonlight is falling through the compluvium in the roof. A square of pale, milky light lies on the floor, illuminating the impluvium pool. The water is perfectly still. A sheet of black glass. It reflects a single star. The star does not twinkle. It just stares back from the water, cold and distant. A gecko moves on the wall. It is a nocturnal hunter, but even it moves slowly tonight. It lifts one foot, it places it, it lifts another, it stops. It blends into the fresco of a garden painted on the wall. It becomes part of the decoration. It waits. 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass. The gecko has not moved. The water has not rippled. The star has not blinked. This is the patience of the night. We drift out of the house and into the street. The air here is colder. It carries the dampness of the Tiber. The stones of the road are wet with dew. They glisten faintly in the starlight. We move towards the stables of the Green faction near the Circus Maximus. This is where the chariot horses are kept. Inside, the stable is warm. It smells of hay, horse sweat, and manure. A rich, organic living smell. Rows of stalls stretch down the long building. The horses are asleep. Most are standing, locking their legs. Some are lying down in the straw. Listen to the sound of large animals resting. A horse shifts its weight. Thump, rustle, hooves on straw. Another horse blows air through its nostrils. Pffffffffft. A low, fluttering sound. We float into a stall. A black stallion stands there. His head hangs low. His eyes are closed. His lower lip droops slightly. He is a machine of speed built for the roar of the crowd and the thundering track. But right now he is just a statue of flesh and bone. His flank rises and falls. Heave. Sigh. Heave. Sigh. A mouse scuttles along the top of the stall partition. Scritch, scritch, scritch. It stops. It looks down at the horse. The horse's ear twitches. One rotation, back to stillness. The mouse moves on. The stable cat is asleep on a bale of hay near the door. It is curled into a perfect circle, tail over nose. It is a temple of sleep. The energy of the race is suspended. The muscles are repairing. The adrenaline is gone. We leave the warmth of the stable and return to the chill of the street. We go underground now, to the Cloaca Maxima, the great drain. The entrance is a dark archway by the river. We drift inside. It is a tunnel of massive stone blocks. There is no light here, absolute, total darkness, but there is sound. The sound of water. Rush, gurgle, rush. This is the water that washed the streets, the baths, the fountains. It is leaving the city. It flows steadily. It does not care about the time. It flows over the stone channel smoothed by centuries of water. Slap, swirl in the darkness. The sound is amplified. It sounds like a breathing beast. It is the digestive system of Rome, constant, unthinking. We float along the surface of the black water. We pass under a grate. A faint grid of moonlight falls onto the water for a second, then is gone. Onward into the dark, rush, gurgle. There is a comfort in this flow. It carries everything away. The waste, the dust, the lost coins, the forgotten things. It clears the city for the new day. It is a boring, dirty, necessary river, and it is peaceful in its own grim way. We rise up through a manhole back to the surface. We are in the commercial district, the Subura. The streets are narrow here, crowded with tall, rickety apartment blocks. The buildings lean towards each other, blocking out the sky. It is a canyon of brick and timber. From an open window on the third floor, a sound emerges, a baby crying. Wah, wah. It is a thin, tired sound. Then a shushing sound, shh-h-h-h-h-h, shh-h-h-h-h, a mother's voice. Low, rhythmic. Sleep, little one, sleep. Wah, hiccup, wah. Shh-h-h-h-h. The crying fades. It turns into a whimper, then silence. The mother rocks the cradle. We can hear the wood rocking on the floorboards. Creak-rock, creak-rock, creak-rock. She is tired. Her eyes are heavy. But the rhythm keeps her moving, rocking, rocking. The sound echoes faintly in the alleyway, joining the other sounds of the night. It is a universal sound, the sound of comfort in the dark. We move to a bakery, a pistrinum. The night shift we saw earlier is now in full swing, but it is a quiet phase of the process. The dough has been mixed. Now it sits in large wooden troughs to rise. The room is warm, heated by the residual warmth of the ovens. The air smells sour and sweet, the smell of fermentation. The baker sits on a stool, arms crossed, watching the troughs. He is not working. He is waiting. Biology is working. Inside the dough, millions of tiny yeast bubbles are forming. Pop. Microscopic. The dough expands, slowly. It heaves up like a slow-motion lung. It presses against the sides of the trough. The baker nods. He closes his eyes. He naps sitting up. His head drops. Nod. He jerks awake. He checks the dough. It has risen an inch. He settles back. This is the work of the night. Watching grass grow. Watching dough rise. There is no way to speed it up. The yeast works on its own time. The baker is just the guardian. We go to the city wall again, the Porta Capena. 2 guards are walking the perimeter. They are walking slowly. Step, step, step. Their armor clinks softly. Ching, ching, they do not speak. They have told all their stories 3 hours ago. Now they just walk. They look out at the darkness beyond the wall, the Ager Romanus, the fields. It is a void, a black ocean of land. Somewhere out there an owl hoots. Hoo hoo. It is a lonely sound. It emphasizes the emptiness. One guard stops to adjust his sandal. He leans his spear against the wall. Clatter. He bends down. He pulls the leather strap. He stands up. He picks up the spear. They continue walking, step, step, step. They are walking the line between civilization and the wild, between the light which is gone and the dark. But nothing is attacking. Nothing is happening, just the wind blowing through the crenellations of the wall. Whoosh, whoosh. We drift high above the city now. We look down. Rome is a sleeping giant. It is a patchwork of black and gray. You can see the dark ribbon of the streets. You can see the pale squares of the courtyards. You can see the faint glow of the few remaining fires, like dying embers in a heap of ash. The atmosphere is thick. The humidity has risen. A mist is beginning to form again near the river. It curls around the bridges. It softens the hard edges of the stone. It is a blanket being pulled up over the city. Sleep, it says. Sleep. We descend into a garden of a temple, the Temple of Vesta. The sacred fire burns inside, tended by the Vestal virgins. It is the one fire that never goes out, but we are in the garden behind it. Statues of former Vestals stand on pedestals. They are marble white and ghostly in the dark. They look like they are watching us, but their eyes are blank stone. A light breeze moves the leaves of a laurel tree. Rustle, rustle, a dry leaf falls. It drifts down. It lands on the path. Scritch. It tumbles once, twice, then it stops. Everything stops eventually. The wind dies down. The leaf lies still. The silence returns, heavier than before. Imagine you are that leaf. You have fallen. You are resting on the cool earth. There is no wind to move you. You are simply there. The stone statues watch over you. The temple walls protect you. The night covers you. We drift to a warehouse near the docks. It is filled with amphorae of wine. Thousands of them stacked in rows. They are sealed with wax. Inside, the wine is sleeping. It is aging. It sits in the dark, turning mellow. It is doing nothing, yet it is becoming better. This is the virtue of waiting, the virtue of stillness. The air in the warehouse is cool and smells of dust and old clay. It is a tomb for wine, a peaceful, silent tomb. Nothing moves here, not a mouse, not a spider. Just the heavy, silent weight of the stored harvest. We move to the steps of the Senate House, the Curia. It is empty. The doors are bronze, massive, shut tight. During the day, this is a place of shouting, of arguments, of power. Now, it is just a box of cold air. The marble steps are empty. We sit on the steps. The stone is cold beneath us. We look out at the Forum. It is a graveyard of ambitions. In the dark, the statues of the great men look small. They look like toys left out by a child. The darkness equals everything. The emperor and the beggar are both asleep. The Senate and the stable are both silent. The night is a great leveler. It demands rest from everyone. It slows the heart. It cools the blood. It empties the mind. Listen to the silence of the Forum. It is a high-quality silence. It has a texture. It is smooth, polished, deep. It rings in the ears, a profound lack of noise, deep, deep silence. Far away, a dog barks once. Woof. Then silence again. The bark does not break the silence. It only measures it. It shows you how big the silence is. The silence swallows the bark instantly and closes over it like water. We are drifting towards the Campus Martius, the field of Mars. It is an open plain used for exercise and drilling. Now it is just a field of grass and dust. The dew is heavy here. We float over the grass. We can hear the faint sound of the grass stems bending under the weight of the dew. Tick, tick, tiny sounds, the sounds of moisture gathering. The sky overhead is a dome of crushing black. The stars are piercingly bright. Orion, the Bear, the Pleiades, they turn slowly. So slowly you cannot see them move, but they are moving, marking the passage of the night. The great cosmic clockwork, turning, turning, turning. You are small beneath it. You are safe beneath it. The universe is doing the work of turning. You do not have to help. You can just lie back. Let the grass hold you. Let the dark cover you. Let the silence fill you. The city of Rome is asleep. The empire is at rest. The work is done. The night is here, heavy, dark, boring, perfect. We are deep in the well of the night now. The excitement of the evening is long dead, and the hope of the morning is not yet born. This is the stagnant hour. Time seems to stop completely here. If you were to look at an hourglass, you would feel as though the sand had frozen in the glass. The city of Rome is a vast, silent lung that is holding its breath. The stone streets are cold to the touch. The walls of the buildings are damp. The air is thick with a heavy, wet silence that muffles even the sound of your own thoughts. We drift towards the edge of the industrial district, to a place that never truly sleeps but only dozes. A brick factory, a figlina. Here, a massive kiln stands like a fortress of clay. It is cooling down from the day's firing, but it is still warm. It radiates a gentle, dry heat that pushes back the damp night air. A slave, the stoker, sits on a pile of dry wood. He is the guardian of the temperature. He cannot let the fire die, but he cannot let it rage. It must be a low, sleeping heat. He holds a long iron rod. He pokes the embers through the small arch at the base of the kiln. Scritch, scrape. The sound of metal on brick is scratchy and quiet. He shifts a log. A small shower of orange sparks flies up. They swirl in the dark air like fireflies, then vanish. Snap. A log settles. Then silence returns. The stoker wraps his rough wool cloak tighter around his shoulders. He stares into the red eye of the furnace. The light reflects in his eyes, orange, steady, unblinking. He is not thinking, he is just watching. He counts the bricks in the archway. 1, 2, 3, 4. He loses count. It doesn't matter. The warmth is sleepy. The light is sleepy. The kiln breathes. H-H-H-H. H-H-H-H. A low draft pulling air in. We leave the warmth of the kiln and go out into the Ager, the fields just beyond the city walls. Here, the darkness is absolute. There are no street lamps, no torches, only the vast, crushing dome of the stars. We find a shepherd. He is leaning against an ancient olive tree. His flock is a sea of gray mounds on the dark grass, sheep sleeping. Listen to them, rustle. A sheep shifts its legs, chomp. A sheep chews on a blade of grass in its sleep. Huff. A sheep exhales. The shepherd is awake, but only just. He is motionless. He has become part of the tree. He looks up at the Milky Way, a river of white dust across the black sky. He feels the dew settling on his cloak, tiny, cold droplets. He runs his hand over the bark of the tree. Rough, gnarled, solid, rub, rub. His dog lies at his feet. The dog's ear twitches at the sound of a cricket, but he does not lift his head. It is a scene of perfect pastoral peace, a painting that does not move. There is no wolf tonight. There is only the cold and the stars. We float back towards the river to the Pons Fabricius, the bridge that connects to the Tiber Island. The bridge is made of stone, ancient and sturdy. 2 four-faced Janus heads watch the crossing. The river flows underneath. Swirl, lap, swirl. Mist is rising from the water. It curls around the stone piers of the bridge. It looks like white smoke in the moonlight. We sit on the parapet of the bridge. We look down at the black water. It is oily, smooth, heavy. It carries a piece of driftwood. The wood spins slowly, round and round and round. It passes under the arch and is gone. The bridge is empty. No carts, no feet, just the damp stone and the river mist. You can feel the moisture on your face, cool, refreshing. The sound of the water is a continuous white noise. It washes away anxiety. It washes away time. Rush. It is the sound of the earth's blood flowing. We move on to the island itself, to the temple of Aesculapius, the god of healing. This is a place of hospitals and sanctuaries. It is the quietest place in Rome. We enter a long hall where the sick are sleeping. Rows of simple beds, the air smells of medicinal herbs, sage, thyme, vinegar, and clean linen. A nurse and attendant walks softly between the rows. She wears soft leather slippers. Pad, pad, pad. She stops at a bed. She dips a sponge into a bowl of cool water. Squeeze. Water trickles back into the bowl. Drip, drip, drip. She wipes the forehead of a sleeping man. Wipe. Gentle, slow, wipe. The man sighs in his sleep, a sound of relief. She moves to the next bed. She straightens a blanket. Rustle. She tucks the corner in. Pat. Everything here is done with care. Everything is slow. The nurse sits on a stool at the end of the hall. She folds her hands in her lap. She listens to the breathing of the patients. It is a chorus of rest. Some breaths are shallow, some are deep. Together they create a rhythm, the rhythm of healing. The darkness here is not scary, it is protective. It is a blanket that allows the body to mend. We drift away from the island back to the mainland. We find ourselves in a narrow alley between two high insulated apartment blocks. It is a wind tunnel. The wind is picking up slightly. Woo-whoa. It blows a piece of old papyrus down the street. Scrape, flutter, scrape. The paper tumbles over the cobblestones. It hits a wall. It stops. The wind dies. The paper lies still. We look up. A shutter on the 4th floor is hanging loose. It bangs against the wall. Bang, pause, bang, pause, bang. It is a lonely, rhythmic sound. No one gets up to fix it. It is just the heartbeat of the building. Inside the apartments, people turn over in their sleep, incorporating the sound into their dreams. To them, it is the sound of a hammer or a drum or a gate. To us, it is just wood hitting stone. Bang, pause, bang. We move to a public latrine. An odd place perhaps, but at night it is deserted and strangely peaceful. Water flows continuously in the channels beneath the stone seats. Gurgle, rush, gurgle. The marble seats are cold and white. The room is empty. The moonlight reflects off the wet marble floor. It is a space of pure function, now resting. The water does not stop. It cleans the stone continuously, preparing for the morning that is still hours away. There is a solitude here. A privacy that is rare in the crowded city. We float to a horium, a grain warehouse near the docks. We are inside. It is vast, cathedral-like. Sacks of grain are piled to the rafters. The air is thick with dust. Even in the dark, you can smell the dry, golden scent of wheat. It is a dry silence. A mouse sits on top of a sack. It holds a grain of wheat in its paws. Nibble, nibble, tiny, sharp sounds. It stops. It listens. It hears nothing. It continues. Nibble, nibble. The warehouse is a bank vault of calories. The energy of the sun trapped in kernels of grain waiting to be released. But for now, it sleeps. The weight of the sacks presses down. Gravity is the only force at work here. Heavy, static. The dust settles on the floor, layer upon layer. Time is measured in dust thickness here. We leave the warehouse and go to the very center of the Forum Romanum. We stand before the Millenarium Aureum, the golden milestone, the point from which all roads in the empire are measured. It is a column covered in gilt bronze. In the moonlight, it looks dull, dark gold. This is the center of the world, and it is empty. You can touch the column. It is cold metal. You can look down the roads radiating out, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. They are all dark. They are all quiet. Imagine the millions of people at the ends of those roads. In Gaul, in Africa, in Syria, in Britain. Most of them are asleep right now too. A vast empire of sleepers, breathing in unison, linked by these stone roads that are currently silent. A cat walks across the Forum. It walks past the milestone. It does not care about the empire. It stretches its back, arching high. It sharpens its claws on a wooden scaffold. Scritch, scratch. It yawns. It walks on, tail high, vanishing into the shadows of the Temple of Saturn. We drift up to the Capitoline Hill. The great temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus looms above us. The doors are shut. The steps are sweeping and empty. We sit on the top step. We look out over the roofs of the city. It is a sea of tiles, waves of clay. Chimney pots stick up like masts. There is no smoke rising now. The fires are banked. The city looks like a landscape of gray geometry. Triangles, squares, rectangles, hard edges softened by the night. The moon is lower in the sky now. It is moving towards the west. The shadows are shifting, very slowly. The shadow of a statue moves across a roof tile. It takes an hour to cross one tile. That is the speed of the night, 1 tile per hour. You are sitting on the step of the temple. You are wrapped in a cloak. The stone is solid beneath you. The air is cool on your face. There is nothing to do, no one to talk to, nothing to read, nothing to buy, just you and the stone and the moon. Listen to the wind. It comes from the hills. It whispers through the columns. S-H-H-H-H-H-H-H. It sounds like the sea. It sounds like sleep. Down in the valley, the mist is getting thicker. It is filling the bowl of the city, rising up, covering the streets, covering the fountains, covering the noise. The world is being packed away in cotton wool. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your jaw relax. The boredom is a gift. It is a permission to stop, to just be, like the stone, like the grain, like the sleeping river. The night has aged. It is no longer the deep, comfortable darkness of midnight. Now it is the hard, cold darkness of the pre-dawn. The air has a bite to it. It stings the nose and numbs the fingers. The stone of the city, which held warmth for so long, has finally surrendered its heat. Now, the stone draws the cold from the ground and radiates it into the air. This is the hour when the sleep of the city is heaviest, yet most fragile. The dreams are ending. The body is beginning to sense that the rest is nearly over. But the mind resists. The mind wants to stay in the warm burrow of the bed. We drift into the back room of a thermopolium, a hot food shop. It is silent and dark. The owner sleeps on a cot in the corner. He stirs, rustle. He pulls his cloak tighter around his neck. Tug, he turns over. The cold has found a way through the cracks in the shutters. It seeps along the floor like a liquid. He grunts softly in his sleep. He does not wake up. He curls into a tighter ball, knees to chest, preserving warmth. He is a small island of heat in a cold room. We move to the kitchen area. The hearth is a pile of gray ash, but deep inside, buried under the gray, is the seed of fire. A single ember kept alive from the night before. It glows faintly, a dull, dark red. It is waiting. It needs food, but no one is feeding it yet. It pulses, dim, bright, dim. It is the only living thing in the room. We float outside to a public fountain. The water flow has not stopped, but the sound seems sharper in the cold air. Splash, tinkle, splash. Icicles have formed on the bronze spout, tiny, clear fingers of ice. A drop of water hangs from the tip of an icicle. It grows heavy. It falls, plink. It hits the stone basin. The sound is high and brittle, like glass breaking. A rat scampers across the rim of the basin. Its claws click on the ice. Click, click, click. It slips, scrabble. It regains its balance. It sniffs the air. The air smells of frost and wet stone. The rat hurries away, seeking a warm cellar. The street is empty again. We move to the barracks of the Praetorian Guard, just outside the main city walls. The discipline here is stricter. The waking comes earlier. A trumpet, a bucina, is being prepared, but it has not sounded yet. Inside the barracks room, 12 men sleep. The room smells of leather, metal, and men. One soldier wakes up before the call. His eyes open. He stares at the ceiling. He can see his own breath. Huff, puff. White clouds of steam rising from his mouth in the dark. He watches them rise and vanish. Rise and vanish. He does not move his body. He knows that as soon as he moves, the cold air will hit his skin, so he lies perfectly still. He savors the last minutes of warmth under his blanket. He flexes his toes, they are stiff. He clenches his hand, clench, release. He is preparing his body for the shock of the morning. He listens to the breathing of his comrades, a symphony of snores. Some are deep rumbles, gronk, shhh. Some are high whistles, wee. It is a comforting human sound. We leave the barracks and go to the suburra, the crowded lower-class district. Here, the work begins early. We find a pister baker who is already awake. He stands in the dark bakery. He holds a piece of flint and a piece of steel. He holds a small pile of dry tinder, dried moss, and straw. He strikes the steel against the flint. Click. A spark flies. It misses the tinder. It dies on the floor. He strikes again. Click. Another spark, miss. He sighs. He is tired. His hands are cold and clumsy. He tries again. Click. A spark lands on the moss. It glows, a tiny pinprick of red. He leans down. He blows gently. Woo-wo. The glow spreads. It eats the moss. Smoke rises. A thin gray thread. He blows again. Woo-wo. A small flame bursts into life. Yellow and eager. He feeds it a twig. Snap. The twig catches. The light expands. It illuminates his face. Tired, lined, covered in flour dust. He puts the burning twig into the oven mouth. He adds more wood. Clatter. The fire takes hold. Crackle. Pop. The day has begun for the baker. There is no sun yet, but there is fire. He warms his hands over the flames. Rub. Rub. The heat is painful on his frozen fingers, but it is a good pain. Outside, the mist from the river has thickened into a dense fog. It fills the streets up to the second story of the buildings. We float through the fog. It dampens all sound. It feels wet on the skin. We cannot see the ground. We can only see the vague shapes of walls passing by. Gray, dark gray, black. We hear a sound in the fog, creak. Rumble, a cart is moving. We cannot see it. We can only hear it. The wooden wheels grinding on the wet stones. Grind, crunch, the hooves of an ox. Clop, squelch. The driver does not speak. He is just a shadow in the mist. The cart passes us. We feel the movement of the air. Then it is gone, swallowed by the white darkness. We drift up to the roof of a temple. A pigeon is roosting under the eaves. It is fluffed up into a ball to keep warm. Its head is tucked in. It wakes up. It blinks one eye. It looks at the fog. It decides it is too cold to move. It shuffles its feet, scritch. It closes its eye again. Sleep is better. We move to the countryside, to a villa rustica. The rooster is waking up. He stands on the fence rail. He stretches his neck. He opens his beak, but he does not crow yet. He just yawns. A silent, gaping yawn. He shakes his feathers. Ruffle, ruffle. He waits. He is watching the eastern horizon. He is the timekeeper. He takes his job seriously. But the line of light has not appeared yet, so he waits. In the barn, the cows are waking. They stand up, heave, thud, their joints crack, pop. They begin to chew, munch, munch. The sound of chewing is loud in the quiet barn, a rhythmic, grinding sound. Warm steam rises from their bodies, mixing with the cold air. The barn smells of sweet hay and milk. It is a cozy, enclosed world. Back in the city, a street sweeper is starting his shift. He has a lantern. He walks slowly, looking at the ground. He sees a broken clay pot. He sweeps the shards into a pile. Clink, clink. The sound of pottery hitting pottery is sharp. He bends down. He scoops up the shards with a wooden board. Scrape. He throws them into his basket. Rattle. He moves on. Step, sweep, step, sweep. He is cleaning the path for the people who will wake up in an hour. They will never see him. They will never know he was here. He is a ghost of the pre-dawn. He stops to cough. Cough, cough. The cold air tickles his throat. He spits. He continues. Swish, swish. The wind shifts. It comes from the north now. It brings the smell of pine from the distant hills. It blows through the arches of the aqueduct. Woo-woo. It sounds like a flute being played by a giant. Low, mournful, constant. We float to the top of the aqueduct. The water rushes in the channel. It is dark, fast, and cold. It has traveled miles to get here. It flows into the distribution tank, the castellum aquae. Roar, gurgle. The water is divided into pipes, lead pipes. The water is forced into them. Hiss. Deep underground, the pipes carry the water to the baths, to the fountains. The veins of the city are throbbing with cold water, ready for the day. We move to a scholar's house. He is awake. He suffers from insomnia. He sits at his desk. His lamp is burning low. He has been reading all night. His eyes are red. He stares at the scroll in front of him. The letters are blurring. He rubs his eyes. Rub, rub. He sighs. He looks at the window. It is still black. He wants the morning to come. But he also fears the noise of the day. He is trapped in the silent limbo of the night. He picks up his pen. He puts it down. Click. He listens to the silence. It rings in his ears. We go to the port, Ostia. The sea is calm, a flat black mirror. The ships are at anchor. Their masts rock gently, creak, creak. The rigging taps against the wood, tap, tap, tap. A lantern swings on the stern of a large grain ship. It casts a yellow streak on the black water. The streak moves back and forth. Left, right, hypnotic. A sailor is on watch. He is wrapped in a thick wool coat. He leans on the rail. He looks at the horizon. He is not looking for anything specific, just watching the line where the sea meets the sky. He breathes in the salt air. It clears his head. He is cold, but he is awake. He is the eyes of the ship. Back in Rome, the false dawn is beginning to fade. The sky is getting darker again for a moment before the true light comes. This is the darkest moment. The shadows are absolute. The cold is at its peak. A cat walks along a high wall. It stops. It lifts a paw. It shakes the dew off its paw. Shake. It puts the paw down. It walks on, silent, invisible. We drift into a courtyard where a garden grows. The plants are frozen in the dark. Cabbages, lettuce, herbs. Their leaves are stiff with cold, but they are alive. They are waiting for the sun. You can almost feel the tension in the plants. The desire for photosynthesis, but not yet. Now is the time for roots, drawing water from the deep earth, drinking in the dark. The silence is broken by a sound. A door opening, kriak, heavy hinges, rusty iron. A man steps out. He carries a bucket. He walks to the well in the center of the courtyard. His footsteps are heavy. Thud, thud. He lowers the bucket. Whir. The rope unwinds from the windlass. Splash. He winds it up. Crank, crank, crank. The gears groan. The water is heavy. He lifts the bucket. He walks back. Thud, thud. The door closes. Bang. The silence rushes back, but the seal is broken. The city is starting to twitch. One door, one fire, one sweeper. But for you, the viewer, the darkness holds. You do not have to wake up. You do not have to carry the bucket. You can stay in the warmth. You can watch the cold from a distance. Imagine the frost on the stone. White, crystalline, beautiful. Imagine the cold air in your lungs, clean, sharp. Imagine the sound of the wind, woo-oh. The world is a cold, quiet place. Nothing is expected of you, just to breathe, just to wait. The sun will come when it comes. For now, there is only the gray, and the cold, and the silence. The sky is changing. It is happening slowly with the inevitability of the tide. The deep, impenetrable charcoal of the night is dissolving. In the east, behind the silhouette of the Alban Hills, a line of light appears. It is pale at first, a milky white that bleeds into the dark blue above. Then the color comes, saffron, pale gold, a soft, dusty pink. It is the aurora, the fingers of the dawn touching the sleeping world. The light is not yet hot, it is cool and revealing. It washes over the city, reclaiming the shapes from the shadows. The dome of the Pantheon turns from a black void to a gray curve. The columns of the temple of Saturn emerge like ghosts stepping out of the mist. We are back where we started in the cycle that never ends. The day is returning. The work is returning. Listen, a rooster crows, coo-roo. It is a ragged sound cutting through the damp air. It echoes off the stone walls. Then another answers from a different neighborhood, coo-roo, and another. A chain reaction of waking birds. They are announcing the sun. We drift to the bakery, the pistrinum. The smell is now overwhelming. It is the scent of finished bread, warm, yeasty, toasted crust. The baker opens the oven door, creak, clang, a wave of heat escapes. He uses a long wooden peel to remove the loaves, slide, scrape. He pulls a loaf out. It is round, golden brown, scored into 8 wedges. It steams in the cool morning air. He places it on a wooden rack. Thump. Slide, scrape, thump, slide, scrape, thump. The rack fills up, a wall of warm bread. The baker wipes his floury hands on his apron. He looks at the bread. He is satisfied. The night's work is done. The day's sale is about to begin. He goes to the front of the shop. He unbars the shutters. He lifts the heavy wooden bar. Grunt. He pulls the shutters open. Bang. The morning light floods into the shop, illuminating the dust motes that have been dancing in the dark all night. The shop is open. The cycle restarts. We move to the street. The water carrier, perhaps the same one we saw yesterday, or perhaps his brother, is walking to the fountain. He carries his pole. The empty jars swing at the ends. Clonk. Clonk, he yawns, a massive, jaw-cracking yawn. He rubs his eyes. He reaches the fountain. The water is flowing bright and clear in the new light. He places the jar, splash, the sound of water filling a vessel, the sound of the morning. He lifts it. The weight settles on his shoulder. He turns. He walks. Step. 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 The repetition is comforting. He knows exactly where he is going. He knows exactly how heavy the water is. There are no surprises waiting for him, just the physics of the job. We go to the city gates. The porta, the guards are changing shift. The night watchmen look tired. Their faces are gray, their eyes red. The day watchmen look fresh, shaved, alert. They exchange a few words. Quiet night, quiet enough. The heavy bar is lifted from the gate. Groan, clank. The huge wooden doors are pushed open. Cree-yak, the hinges protest. They haven't moved for 12 hours. The road outside is revealed. And there they are, the travelers, the farmers, the carts that have been waiting all night. They begin to move. A slow tide of humanity flowing into the city. The wheels begin to turn. Rumble, crunch, the donkeys step forward, clip, clop. The vegetables are brought to market. The cabbages, the leeks, the onions. The cycle of feeding the city begins again. We drift to a house in the suburra. A mother wakes her children. She touches a shoulder gently. Wake up, the sun is here. The child groans, MMMPH. He rolls over. He pulls the blanket up. She pulls it down. Up. It is a gentle struggle, the reluctance of the body to leave the warmth. The child sits up. He rubs his eyes with small fists. He puts his feet on the cold floor. He shivers. He stands. The day has claimed him. We float to the river, the Tiber. The mist is burning off. It rises in wisps, vanishing into the blue sky. The river looks different in the morning light. It is no longer black oil. It is brown, churning, purposeful. The barges are being untied, slap, splash. The ropes are coiled. The men take their positions. The great commercial engine of the empire kicks into gear, but it is a slow gear. A barge pushes off from the bank. It drifts into the current. It moves downstream. Silent, heavy, slow. We see a schoolteacher setting up his stool in the street corner. He wipes the dew off the bench with a rag. Wipe, wipe. He arranges his cane. He arranges his wax tablets. He sits. He waits for the boys to arrive. He looks at the sun. He squints. He knows that in an hour the heat will return, but for now it is pleasant. He takes a bite of an apple. Crunch. He chews slowly. He watches a beetle crawl across the cobblestone. He does not crush it. He just watches. We move to a temple courtyard. A priest is performing the morning sacrifice. It is not a bloody spectacle. It is a quiet offering. He places incense on a small altar, sprinkle. The incense hits the hot coals. Sizzle, smoke rises, a thin vertical line of gray. It smells of frankincense and myrrh, sweet and resinous. The priest mutters a prayer, low, rhythmic, fast, Latin words tumbling over each other. Janus, Jupiter, Mars, he is greeting the gods. He is opening the spiritual door of the day. The city is fully awake now, but it is not chaotic. It is a rhythmic, organized waking. The hammers begin to ring in the smithies, clang, clang, clang. The saws begin to rasp in the carpenter shops. ZZZZT, ZZZZT. The brooms swish on the doorsteps. Swish, swish. It is a symphony of boring, necessary tasks. Millions of hands picking up millions of tools. Millions of feet taking the first step of the day. We drift up higher and higher. We look down at the city of Rome. The sunlight has reached the streets now. The shadows are shrinking. The tile roofs are a sea of warm terracotta. The marble temples are blinding white islands. The river is a shining snake. From this height, the movement of the people is just a texture, a shimmering of the surface. You cannot see the struggle. You cannot feel the sweat. You can only see the pattern, the eternal pattern of the day. The sun climbs, the shadows move, the time passes. It has happened 1 trillion times before. It will happen 1 trillion times again. The Roman Empire will fall, but the sun will not stop rising. The bread will still need to be baked. The water will still need to be carried. The sleep will still need to be slept. You, the listener, the watcher, you have seen the whole cycle. You have walked the hot streets of noon. You have sat in the cool shade of the afternoon. You have watched the lamps flicker and die in the evening. You have breathed the cold air of the deepest night. And now you have seen the dawn return. But you do not have to join them. You do not have to pick up the pole. You do not have to open the shutter. You do not have to walk the road. You can stay in the space between the times. You can stay in the rest. The Romans are doing the work for you. They are carrying the weight of history. They are living their boring, repetitive, important lives so that you can let go. Look at the stone of the Colosseum. It is heavy. It is solid. It is not going anywhere. Rest your mind on that stone. Look at the flow of the aqueduct. It is constant. It is fluid. Let your thoughts flow away with it. The city is a machine that runs on its own. You can step off the machine. You can close your eyes. The sun is too bright now. It is better to look inward, to the dark, quiet space behind your eyelids. The sounds of the city are fading. The clang of the hammer is getting softer. The rumble of the cart is getting distant. The crow of the rooster is just an echo. We are drifting away from Rome, away from the noise, away from the dust, away from the time. We are floating in a white cloud of peace. There is nothing here but comfort, nothing here but silence. The history book is closing. The pages are turning. Rustle, rustle, the book is shut. Thump. It is placed on a shelf, high up, out of reach. The story is over. The work is done. The Romans are busy, but you are free. The last image is of a cat, the same cat we saw on the roof. It has found a new patch of sun. It curls up. It tucks its nose under its tail. It closes its eyes. It sleeps. Despite the noise, despite the day, despite the empire, it sleeps. And so can you, drift, float, fade. The day begins for them, but for you, good night.